I got really energetic and was like, we're going to run 4 layouts on day 1. And we're going to run it reverse on day 2. The same 4 layouts, but like reverse on. He started his tripometer before the weekend of driving. And he said, I don't know what this calculates to with wheel speed and everything. He was like, I did 60 miles of drifting across these 2 days. It had to be more than 100 laps, and getting a hotel separately and going to the restaurant after the event.
It feels like you're pitching me like a weekend summer camp trip or something, like a drift camp.
I love grassroots, but when you want someone to give you a free $1,000 product, you have to put in a little work. Kids like grow up and are like, I want to be an influencer. It's like, well, you need to do something that's influential. When I started the company, it wasn't Scott who makes steering wheels. I didn't want people to know me.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted it to be professional, and I wanted people to understand it was a brand with a logo. I kept a strap in the car because I was just like, somebody's probably gonna have to tow me. Like, I've done more drifting in the last 3 years than the 15 years before that collectively. I will say this, I get really tired of painting white wheels. You know, I grew up with hot rods, so I like all the like super hot boy flashy colors.
Flake.
Yeah, the flake wheels, the fades. I like doing like 2-color fades.
Gotta stay fresh like a brand new whip. That new smell, switching it up, 2-step. They try to text, leaving my race, switching the.
Welcome back to the #1 drift podcast on YouTube. I am Dawson, and this is
Scott with Grip Royal.
Hell yeah. Well, of course, a few announcements. If you are not subscribed, go ahead and do that now. So look below the video. If that button is still red, go ahead and click it and hit that bell notification while you're at it, so you are updated with every single upload. And with the Bridge Moto giveaway that will be in next week's episode, I will announce all the winners then. I gotta get everything together because, again, one-man show. But, of course, if you do want to grab some merch, that is one of the best ways to show support and keep up with even bigger and better podcasts. But that's pretty much it for the announcements, so I will let you introduce yourself.
So I'm Scott. I'm the owner of Grip Royal. Make custom steering wheels and shift knobs, more specifically for the drifting community, but mostly they import any aftermarket car. Just love modern cars, you know?
Oh yeah,
been my life.
Just in your blood.
Too many years now.
Well, that's good. We need that. Well, I did want to say the first time I ever actually met you, you probably don't even remember it, honestly, but was at MIR. I think it was the last MIR event I did. You were working at the Grip Royal tent. Me and my girl came up, bought a shirt, one of the tie-dye shirts that y'all had, the blue, red, white, and blue tie-dye ones. Yeah. And that was the first time I actually got to have a conversation with you a little bit. Okay. It wasn't very long.
Was that at Stupid Cold or?
Stupid Cold, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm surprised that you even caught me because I was running grid, coordinating all the drifting and stuff. Man, it's crazy running those events, especially with how hard the weather is. I mean, the last year we did it, it's 2023 now. So it's January 2022 was the last one we did. Mm-hmm. We had rain, snow, ice, and then sun to finish it off. So it was like,
it's so crazy.
Yeah, it's like all the boxes of weather, just hit it all. So
the first one I ever went to, which was my first event, I've told the story before, but while we were loading up, dude, it started sleeting. And like straight blizzard, dude. It was crazy. Yeah. And I could barely get my car on the trailer. It was horrible.
Oh, yeah. The cars on the ramps will be slipping and sliding.
Yeah, like squirreling and shit.
Yeah. They don't call it Stupid Cold for nothing.
Oh, yeah. That's for sure.
But unfortunately, as we discussed earlier, is MIR, the only track that we had in Memphis, has been shut down now. It's not even actually shut down. They went to sell it. The buyer backed out, and they had already sold off all the equipment. So it's literally just sitting there rotting away. So unfortunately, we didn't get to do that event with Slammed Enough to start off 2023, which is kind of how we always kick off each year with the Stupid Cold event, which last few years had drifting, which is the only big event for drifting that was in Memphis. So now that's kind of dead right now. So
I have heard, I have a buddy that lives in Memphis that's very local to that track. He grew up with it and stuff. I have heard that it's more or less the owners of the track being a little bit greedy right now is what the circumstance is, I guess. Because it was something to do with pricing. I think the first dude backed out at whatever price they had, and then they realized that with the land they have, it could be bought out by like Amazon or something like that for an extreme price, which I totally understand.
Yes.
If you want to hold out for that, like I'm not here to blame you on that.
Yeah,
whatsoever.
If you can make a lot more money with
Why
business,
wouldn't you? Yeah,
exactly. But it was kind of that situation. So and I'm not super involved with it. It's since we've been using that track, it's been like corporate companies that own it. Lots of management changes. It's just really hard to keep any consistency there. But yeah, the last year that we did Stupid Cold, the potential new owner, I think the guy's name was Jeff. He was out there running around, making sure the event ran smoothly. The most support I've ever seen from somebody managing that track. And I think he was doing the paperwork to actually purchase the track. You know, it was like, it's all happening. And then the owners realized they could sell it for like 3 times the value to a warehouse company or something. That guy got snaked. Yeah. He's like, all right, to hell with this. I've invested all this time and resources into this, and you guys just swiped it out from under me. So he, I guess, was from the East Coast somewhere and went back to whatever track he was managing previously. From my understanding, could be completely wrong. Yeah. And then the warehouse deal fell through as the economy started dropping. The warehouse company pulled out as well. So, and again, they sold all the equipment. Yeah, it's
just downhill at this point. That's all it's going.
So it's just rotting.
It'll just sit there until Amazon buys it, or
pretty much
someone similar.
Yeah, and I think now they have it in their mind that it's worth this high dollar.
It's hard to let go of.
Yeah, and it's at this higher. They were going to sell it to someone who really was going to take care of it, and now they've got this triple or quadruple digit in their mind from that initial sell point, and you know, no one's going to buy it. Yeah. Nobody that wants to turn it into a racetrack either. It's pretty
it doesn't help that nothing is around that track either, really. It's like down the street from the ghetto. Like, it's not in the best location.
There's one gas station, and it's not a good one. So but
that's very true.
You know, everybody in Memphis needs somewhere. So like, as far as drifting goes, which is, you know, clearly our motorsport interest, there's nothing there, man. So it really stinks to drift anywhere. Now we have a 3.5 hour drive. Pick a direction, 3.5 hour drive. So from Memphis, you got Nashville, Birmingham, Mid Pond, St. Louis, 3.5, really like 4.5.
That does suck,
or the Drift Mansion, Little Talladega. So it's about the same distance. And when you look at all the options, that place is sick. So.
Well, speaking of, you just came off of hosting an event there. Tell me a little bit about that.
So it's sick.
Yes. Okay. Yes. I messaged you. I messaged him after the fact. I didn't get to go, but I told him, I was like, dude, props to you. The media coming out of this event is fucking insane. If you guys just give a rundown on what the Drift Mansion is first.
So the Drift Mansion it's the secondary title, really, to Little Talladega. So the property itself is a bed and breakfast in Pomona, Missouri. And the couple that own it, John and Allison, they live there. They host people that rent it. But the house is huge, obviously the mansion. Yeah. John has a background in drifting and is a driver himself. He loves the sport. So even though this place has the equipment and you know, with the resources or amenities to do all kinds of activities, his passion is drifting, and he wanted to help the sport grow in his region or his, you know, wherever, his area. Yeah. So it's a bed and breakfast. It sleeps like 16 or 20 people in it. There's a pool, there's a basketball, tennis court, there's a playground for your kids. If you have kids, you know, go out there with the family. There's all kinds of trails out on the property in the woods. They've got dirt bikes, 4-wheelers, side-by-sides. They've got a slew of XL crazy carts that are all modded by Taxi Garage. So they're also like super fast.
The baller ones.
Yeah, they're sick, man. And to be fair, hold on, I'll get off on the crazy carts. But so there's an arcade. The shop is huge, but it's basically, you go out there. When we've gone out, it's like our crew and our wives, our kids, and then some other drivers and their crew and wives and kids. And typically what I've seen from my experience is all the guys, just like anywhere else, gravitate to the garage because we're car nerds, right? So like
They're bound to. I mean, obviously.
Yeah. So we end
That's
up in the garage.
awesome.
Our wives can bounce back and forth. They can hang out at the pool, let the kids play, put the kids on they got electric go-karts, they've got gas go-karts. We had a race the first year with all our wives and girlfriends. They all raced on the go-karts. So we lined them up. We're like,
That's
y'all are
awesome.
getting out here, get out here and rip it. So but yeah, so if they've got a pond that's stocked with fish. You can go out there and fish. There's a baseball field. It's not like
I have heard that.
Yeah, it's not super kept up, but John and Allison have mentioned we've had families out here can we use the baseball field? Sure, go for it.
Shit, I'd be out there.
Yeah, they've got you said you're into baseball, so for me, it's a hard pass. I'm gonna be on the crazy carts.
Yeah.
But there's just something for everyone out there, and it's if you pull it up, you could look at the price point and be like, oh, it's pretty expensive, but it's not a vacation place that you rent by yourself. Mm-hmm. It's definitely like a family gathering. I think they do a lot of bachelor parties out there.
Oh, really?
You could do a business trip if everybody's kind of into car stuff. But again, you don't even have to be into car stuff to use the place.
There's so many amenities that come along with it.
Exactly.
Anyone can enjoy it.
Dude, they've got a golfing, again, it's not the highest of priorities, but they have a golfing little tee off spot, and they've got a hole on the other side of the pond. So you can go out there and hit golf balls and
Damn, I didn't know that.
That's man.
Which I hate golf. I personally have never been good at it because, again, baseball comes into play. I can't get rid of my baseball swing to get to the. I don't know. It's different going low to driving. I don't know. It's really weird. My balls would always curve off.
Oh yeah, dude. Mine.
Yeah, it's horrible.
I just have to have a whole bucket of golf balls if I'm playing anywhere. But hey, that's it.
I need about 30 mulligans.
Yeah. I'm not good, so I go into it with a good attitude, and I come out of it.
Yeah.
Normally drunker with a better attitude.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much all it is.
Tell me a little bit more about the event. What all went into that, and how did it turn out?
Man, it turned out really, really well. So basically, John got the place. He's had it for about 2.5 years now, I think. Mm-hmm. And it already had a pre-existing track around the mansion. Mm-hmm. And to hit back on that, Drift Mansion, it's the secondary name because not everybody that's there is into drifting and it doesn't need to be titled Drift Mansion. Yeah, Drifting Mansion, Drifting Palace, because
drifting's not big enough to hold that title anyways.
Exactly. Well, I don't know. Hopefully it will get there. I think
it will eventually. I think that place alone will help that. But
absolutely. Yeah. So I know initially he wanted to build a racetrack or start a racetrack or even a large skid pad area somewhere in Missouri, just so that there was an opportunity for people to kind of not be on the streets, right? Have somewhere to go. But yeah, so with the event, so he at the end, no, I'm sorry, February of 2023, he started reconstruction on the track, and he basically expanded, resurfaced all the pre-existing asphalt, and then added a few turns and variations. Oh, excuse me. Added a few variations or variables within that track. So it's all fresh asphalt. Okay. It's bigger than it was before. It's got way more options for course layouts.
Yeah.
So he did all that with intentions of being all right, I'm investing into the track so that we can do more track oriented stuff and drifting stuff out here, not just, the occasional bachelor party or family gathering, which is great because people are still seeing, they need that. They have to book this place all the time because it's such a big ordeal, you know?
Which just stays booked a year out, doesn't it?
It's pretty booked right now. Yeah. Yes. So, which again, they've only been, what they say with any business plan, expect to lose for the first 3 to 5 years. Of course. And they're 2.5 in. Major expansions, pretty much everything, because we were the first tenants or first guests to rent it when they got possession of it. So yeah, he and I he and I just had a relationship already from
Yeah.
old Japanese car parts. He's
That's
basically come through
awesome.
and was like, hey man, what kind of junk you got for sale? And dig through all my old SR and S chassis stuff and resell it on his online store that he had. But so I've seen everything grow, like from the lighting out there, the interior to the house, all the amenities have improved and elevated every time I go out there. It's just they're, as with any other startup, it's like constantly pouring back into the business, all their time, all their efforts, all their money.
You have to.
So they invested into expanding the track, and we're like, all right, well, now we got this racetrack. That's not really going to help with the normal bookings, right?
Of course.
Having all this asphalt doesn't make it better for someone who wants to like play paintball with their family, which you can also do that out there.
What the fuck?
Yeah, right. But yeah, so he and I, we did a shakedown event in December of 2022 to test the theories. He and I, through 2022, were discussing it. With my background, hosting events was Stupid Cold, which is, with Grip Roll, but even before that, the Memphis Drift Organization Traction Optional. So all through my history of drifting, like I've been involved with event organization and marketing.
Yeah.
Doing like flyer designs and stuff like that. So he and I were discussing that before he made this major investment and tore up his racetrack to make it new. And I'm like, look, man, here's some things that I'm seeing. Here's some things that you're seeing, because he's a visionary. Yeah. Clearly, you don't have a place like that.
You have to be with that.
Right. So he and I are going back and forth, and I'm kind of like, maybe we should do like a test run just so you can see what I'm saying. For example, one of the biggest things was like, where do we pit the cars? There was nowhere to like park trucks and trailers. And of course, it's like you'd like to say in a perfect world, it's going to be a bright and sunny day, but chances are you might have a storm come through. So we did this test run in December 2022. I had 18 cars out there.
Okay.
It was a 1-day event on the old layout. It rained right away to start the day. It poured its ass off. And then all day long, which is better than it pouring buckets all day long. It was just like a mist. It was so slimy and just
really slick rain.
Yeah, slick. It was very slick on the surface. But it did, for a test, it gave us the perfect example of a worst case scenario weekend. Because you can't
That's
have
awesome. Yeah.
You can't get all these drivers registered, get them all loaded up, come all the way here. Some of these drivers are driving, almost 10 hours to come here, and then be like, oh, it's wet. You guys pack your stuff up and go home. Like, no, we got to go. We got to run. So we did this 1-day event as a test. It was very eye-opening. Lots of things that we saw that needed to be revised and we just made a list of stuff. So that was December. He starts construction in February. It takes.
So you just like immediately jumped on all of those things that y'all talked about.
Well, we were doing the test because he wanted to do it already.
Yeah, okay.
But I was like, man, I don't want you to like go into this and end up, upside down or anything.
Yeah.
We got to go about it right. So, and again, for me, it's great for Grip Royal to be involved, and I have the event coordination background as far as drift events go, but also I just want this place to succeed.
Yeah,
I don't want it
just
to
so
fail.
unique that like I think I won't speak for every drifter, but for the most part in the drift community, everyone wants to see that place grow because they hope to. It's one of those places that they hope one day they get to visit.
Yeah,
it's a nostalgia place. Yeah,
bucket list track, bucket list vacation spot for any automotive enthusiast, but especially a drifter or a track driver or anything like that. But so February he starts construction, tears down the track. Fresh asphalt gets down. Got to wait on it to cure and everything. So all this time period we got 7 months basically till we knew we had scheduled the event to run in July. So we have a 7-month window to plan everything, coordinate it, market it. And I want it to be right, because it's such a big operation. And this event that we just did was the first of many. It wasn't just going to be a one and done kind of thing. Yeah. So,
Would you say 7 months was a good enough time frame, or was that kind of pushing it?
It was good. Yeah.
Okay.
It was good because for him, he had to worry about like the facility.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I had to worry about, like I said, marketing, registration, inviting drivers, and kind of coordinating that system because I'm not trying to just do it once. I was building the foundation to repeat that over time. So it was a lot of work, but it was, again, I was doing a lot of work on the front because I was like, I don't want to do this every time.
Yeah.
So let's make the template that we can reuse every time and improve on that. We'll fine tune it. Yeah. Going into the first one, we know we're going to learn some stuff. We're going to have some issues, have to make revisions, which we did, but it was the 7 months of planning is well worth it. Yeah. We got there. We had to tweak some things, but like for the most part, it was a solid event. And and those minor revisions were expected, easily noted, and that list was far smaller than the amount of work that went into it developing it. That's good. And so
what were some of the headaches that happened during the event?
One of them was I when it's a course like that with variable options, so we have to take a lot into account. So it's like if you go out there with 3 or 4 cars with your buddies and rent the place, you can run whatever layout you want. Like you can get really creative, but we've got to have a grid of 20 cars at a time somewhere. And then we've got to make sure the course doesn't like interfere with each other. Like if somebody were to break a tie rod, they're not going to like hit an oncoming car on the other side of the track, that kind of stuff. So we had a few layouts. I got really energetic and was like, let's do 4 different layouts. We're going to run 4 layouts on day 1. We're going to run it reverse on day 2. The same 4 layouts, but like reverse on. And so I made this like really hefty schedule. And for me, and again, because me as a driver, I'm like, I want to do different stuff. I don't want to go out and drive like just the same layout. Well, we had different power level cars and guys from all over the country came to this event. It was sick. But that was one of the problems I had was right away was like, all right, one of the corners is pretty dangerous, and not even just dangerous, but it was like, if people go off, then it takes a lot of time from the hot track, like track time gets robbed because it takes so long to recover a car. So right away I got a little over ambitious with the layouts, and we had to basically yank back to the layouts, and that sucks. It sucks, but at the same time, it was something that we kind of expected. And so midday, when it already started to show its colors, we were like, nope, got to pull the plug on this. And then that was 2 hours into the first day.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't.
So the rest of the weekend, we got tons of seat time, man. Yeah, I had a guy out there, a driver from Arkansas that had a stock 350Z. He's an OG driver. He's been around forever. But he was like, just got this super simple seat time car. Yeah. He said he started his tripometer before the weekend of driving, and he said, it's like, I don't know what this calculates to with wheel speed and everything. He's like, I did 60 miles of drifting across these 2 days. So I was pretty proud about that. I was like, to be fair, I don't really know how many laps that is.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But yeah, I sent this guy from Grid, like, dude, he had to have done 100. I don't want to get crazy. It had to be more than 100 laps. Like,
that's
it was
awesome.
Tons of seat time. Track flowed really well. My guys that were on my like track crew, we got out there and finished up some final stuff with the facility, and just aesthetically, that place looked banging. Like it was,
I'll put some pictures up on the screen so you guys can see what it looks like now versus like what it was.
Oh yeah, but please do. Yeah, it's so nice, man. And then so like John had more of the karting barriers, like the red and white plastic barriers. Yeah, right before the event started, his order that was 6 weeks behind on delivery showed up, and we unloaded 200 of those barriers. Perfect. Which it was perfect. Yeah, we were kind of at the point we were already like, I guess this company. Yeah,
grab the spray paint. I don't know.
Yeah, but no, like having those physical barriers just so much better too for like outer zones and the edges of the track.
You see things differently.
Yeah, it gives the drivers like a visual aid, and it just looks from the outside. It makes it
looks more professional and like a racetrack.
It's like a real racetrack, man. And he had some with the asphalt down, he added some concrete curbs on the islands and some of the like elevation changes where there would potentially be breakup from cars going on the edges or like water runoff. Asphalt's not cheap, so he's like, I really have to use this concrete as like a retainer for the asphalt. And he put a little bump in it, so it's even like he calls them curbs. They're not curbs, but they look like rumble strips, right? So it's got like a little roll in the middle. And we got out there. I was like, dude, we gotta hit these with paint. Like, you can't just have concrete. And we went to the store. We got white and red paint. All the guys are out there rolling. Like,
that's hilarious.
Like, this isn't what we expected to be here for. I'm like, yeah, dude, but we just got to do it.
We're here now. I don't know what to tell you.
And look at it. You could just look at one curb and then look at the other curb that's painted, and you're like, okay, it's totally worth it. Yeah. So like when Austin's doing the drone shots overhead and they're painted, like that looks like a real deal racetrack. If you flew over it now, you wouldn't be like, does that person have a racetrack around their house? You'd be like, there is a racetrack right there.
There's a fucking racetrack with a house in the middle of it. That's what you see instead.
Exactly. With
That's
a big
hilarious.
Giant pool. So,
well, how does so I know it's kind of like an invitational. How would someone, if they aren't very, I guess, well known or whatever, but they have a good car, you know, they're good at driving, how would they be able to get into an event like that at the Drift Mansion?
So we're gonna continue to refine the application process. Right now it's not really an application. This first one, I basically privately invited drivers and then kind of opened that up to be like, hey, if you vet someone else or if you vouch for them, then you know I'll review them and give them a pass. Which again, we needed this first one to fill up just for proof of concept. Yeah. You know, it's hard for a lot of people, especially when they're used to paying $100 or $200 or $300 for a track day. When they see the price point of driving at one of these events, or you know, this first one, it can be a little overwhelming. But at the same time, you're not paying for just a track day. You're paying for 2 full track days with massive amounts of seat time. It's not 100 cars on track. It's gonna.
You said food and everything was supplied and stuff like that, right?
Yep. Okay,
so
there's like 16 beds in the house, so we sold beds in the house. Some people camped, some people went and got hotels. Obviously, the entry level, the price point of those different entries is different.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, and then meals are prepared at the house or catered in. So we had like a pretty simple, you know, like your typical like hotel breakfast. Yeah. And then lunch is scheduled into the driving day. Dinner is scheduled into the driving day. And then we had a bunch of companies that contributed, even though this isn't a competition. We talked about this earlier. It's like, dude, you got to have incentives for your events, especially if it's a higher price point event. That's this premium experience. Like, I want these people to come out and have a drift event that they'll never forget and a driving experience they'll never forget. But then also to when they buy into it on the front end, you know, and they spend, you know, $1,500 all at once versus buying a $300 entry and getting a hotel separately and going to the restaurant after the event.
It feels like you're pitching me like a weekend summer camp trip or something, like a drift camp. It's so awesome.
It's all inclusive, right? So that's the beauty of it. So then we have these companies that are like, this sounds sick. You know, of course, I've worked with a lot of these companies in the past too, and as a business owner, I understand that we have to deliver. You know, it's not just we're asking for stuff. You know, like I'm hollering at companies that I truly use on my own builds, and I respect those companies. Yeah, and I want them to be involved so that other drivers can respect them the same way. And even people who aren't at the event are like, man, that's sick, dude. Like, these companies back an event and give these prizes away just for fun. Yeah. You know, because this is such
just
a
having
fun
those companies tied to it gives that sense of professionalism. Like, this is a no joke event. Like, this could be a potential event that'll happen every single year, and I'll get my opportunity.
Yes.
It gives that feeling.
Agreed. And, you know, it feels fuller too when we have their logos out on the track and their flags, their tents. Man, we spent days setting stuff up and driving stakes into the ground. The ground out there is like rock. We had a few guys out there like trying to drive stakes in the ground. And we're like, dude, Johnny from Poetry in Motion, the tire changing dude, he's out there and he's like, what's up, man? You guys are struggling. I'll come help. And right away, he goes and drives a stake in the ground and like rips his hand open before a weekend of changing tires for people. And this dude, again, another guy who's like, I'm going to take my 40-foot enclosed and pack up my business and come to you guys to offer tire changing services, just hoping that these drivers like actually utilize him.
Yeah.
Which we, it's not like a comp event either. So we don't have super high horsepower cars that are burning through a pair of tires every lap or every 2 laps or something like that. So we're not as, the volume isn't as much, but he sees the vision, and he's worked with us in the past and is like, man, that sounds sick. Let me be a part of that. I want to contribute. I want to be a part of growing this project. So we had all these companies contribute. At the end of the day, after dinner, everyone's, smashing dinner. We're in the shop, and here we are. We're like giving away an ECU and
so cool.
Set of wheels and tires and coolers and radiators and stuff. It's like, dude, we gave away a crazy cart, which is very fitting out there.
Yeah. So, you'd be the only one here with your own crazy cart.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool, man. So it was a very unique experience, and I think having those incentives really helps drivers to be like, well, shoot, man, I'm biting the bullet on $1,500 like all at once.
Yeah,
I have the potential to win a $1,500 ECU or set of wheels,
if not
or
more.
Whatever.
Yeah.
A set of coilovers. Like there's so much stuff that you could walk away with out there. So
I think that's a good point to make for a lot of the event hosts out there that are struggling themselves, and they need to understand that you got to have some type of incentive. I know I said earlier about for spectators as well, because with bigger events, stuff like that, it's going to draw more of a enormous crowd like Grid Life does. You'll need to advocate for the spectators just as much as you do the drivers in that sense. But I think for like the Drift Mansion stuff that you're doing, advocating for the drifters and making sure that they can be there, because in that they're the ones funding it, they're the ones paying for everything as well. So I think that's highly important for people to know. For sure. And we would at that facility, we wish we could have spectators, but to be fair, it's already max capacity. When we get 35 trucks, trailers, and cars, those drivers, they're limited to only one crew member too. So, oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you can't be like, hey guys, I bought a spot at the event and I'm going to load my dually truck up with, let's cram 5 people in here. But we can't do that.
Let's grab the toter home. Everyone hop in.
Yeah, exactly. And we had to be limiting on that too, just because of the overall amount of people, because this is not set up for massive amounts of people. So, and again, like you just said, so as an event host, to have these incentives for the drivers, but then to deliver on those incentives to these companies, because these companies are massively contributing. Yeah. And we had to invest in reach out and find the right people to do media. That's extremely important to be able to have deliverables to these companies, you know, because they can't just give us the stuff and then we say, yeah, we gave it to them. Just it's out there. It's
not that simple.
You know, the whole thing's marketing and it's good for the sport. You know, somebody could be like super grassroots, and like, trust me, I've done all the grassroots stuff. I love grassroots, but when you want someone to give you free $1,000 product, you have to put in a little work, you know? And when I say a little work, it's more work than it sounds like, you know, because even to grab your phone and make a little video as a driver and be like, hey, I just won this, shout out to this company. Most people aren't doing that.
Yeah. Most people won't even take the time. And like, for someone like me, like that's a video like that is very simple. I could technically get that done within 20 minutes. Yeah. And that might sound like a fucking ages to someone. Yeah. But to me, that's just so simple and a part of my day-to-day life that I've made it to that point. I've forced myself to be that. Yeah. So I don't think it necessarily comes with the amount of work people aren't going to do. It's just their own motivation for or lack thereof motivation for anything productive.
Yeah.
I think that's
also
the main
practice
problem.
makes perfect. So like that's part of your profession, whereas somebody else is like, nah, that's not me. I just came here to drift, and I'm not trying to do that. So that's where also falls on us. That was part of my job, was to make sure we have the right people there to do that for them.
That's
so
awesome.
That's not the driver's responsibility. If they're not trying to be a full-blown comp driver that's like, I want to be a personality and I want to talk to the camera all the time. And some people are like, man, I paid to be here. I just want to hit some laps and go home. Go home, or have a beer with my buddy that came with me and talk about the car. Like, even though we stand and look at it every other day, we just want to do that.
We're in a different environment.
Yeah, exactly. But that's it. That's how all of us started too. Even if you do this for work, it started that way. Yeah. Nobody like got their first car. Well, maybe now, because there's so many influencers and kids like grow up and are like, I want to be an influencer. It's like, well, you need to do something that's influential.
Yeah.
You can't just
influencers aren't just influencers just because they're there.
Yeah. You need to be doing something that other people want to do.
Exactly.
It's not just talking about doing stuff and sitting around dreaming about stuff. It's like, you got to get up and do it. So, but yeah, so the media guys we had out there, man, they crushed it. We had Austin Palermini, which is he has Alma Marketing, but he also was one of the main guys from Clutch Kickers.
Yep.
So if you notice, like the video that we just put up and a lot of the like shorts and reels and stuff that we post,
I haven't been able to sit down and watch the full video, the 20-minute video.
We're doing that.
I want to see it. All right, cool.
We're doing this.
Yeah, we can do that.
Because it just came out like 2 days ago, and I've watched it like 10 times already.
Hell yeah.
Because also I stood at Grid sending cars both days, and most of the layouts I'm behind the house. And all my guys that are flaggers on track were on radios, and they're communicating to me like if I'm good to go. So I watch cars initiate and then they disappear.
Yeah.
It's so
you didn't get to see hardly any of the drift. That's crazy.
Yeah, right?
I see why you watched it 20 plus times.
Right? Yeah. But no, Austin crushed it. We had Chris Flink from Flink Films out there.
He's cool. He's really good.
Yep, he's good too. He's still working on his video. And then we had Vicente from Unknown Union. But he also does a lot of the stuff for Kansai Wheels.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. And so a lot of their videos and stuff are shot and produced by him. And so he was out there shooting for them because they were like the biggest contributor to the event.
Gotcha.
So he's working on like a movie. He had like storyboards, and they had props, and we're doing goofy stuff.
He
and he's
went
like,
all out.
Oh, he's like, you see us doing all this goofy stuff. Don't worry, man. When you watch the video, it'll
just don't question the process.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, they had like funny helmets, and they were breaking stuff out on the track. We had Nikki, one of the guys, he like breaks something and like jumps in the back of my car in the hatch, and I like do a burnout and take off. I was like, I don't have a clue.
Yeah, I don't know what we just did, but sounds good.
Yeah. I was like, are you okay back there? Just hold on. Use the roll cage, man. But but yeah, so hopefully, and we're still working on by the time this is out, a lot of those companies will have received their media return as well. But that's essentially how we're paying them back for contributing to these drivers, is creating content for them that's specific to them and highlights their brands and their parts. Which again, it's very easy to do when you actually use them on your cars. So like all the companies that are involved are all companies that I've bought parts from. So I'm not like just getting stuff for free all the time. It's that I buy stuff from them to use on our builds, and then that kind of shows the worth. So when we reach out to them, we're like, hey, we're doing this really big thing. Do you want to be a part of it? And then not even that, not to be like, this kind of goes into like asking for sponsorships, but from an event or a driver standpoint. But when we reach out to them, know what you want, instead of being like, hey, I was wondering if I could get some stuff for free. Like what?
Works,
yeah, man, I can send you some stickers.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure. Well, I was kind of thinking more like 10 grand. Nope.
Well, first of all,
yeah. What for?
Yeah.
Why?
Almost any company within the drifting or any type of motorsports, I've never seen them just hand out money.
Yeah, monetary sponsorship is very hard to acquire.
Yeah, it's all free parts normally or discounted parts, stuff like that.
And same thing like with Grip Oil. I don't monetarily sponsor anyone. That's just because we're, as I was saying to you, is like we're a 2-man team.
Yeah.
We have this giant brand recognition, but that's from all the hard work and all the marketing and building the brand. When I started the company, it wasn't Scott who makes steering wheels. I didn't want people to know me.
Yeah.
Like I wanted it to be professional, and I wanted people to understand it was a brand with a logo.
And I think you did a phenomenal job at that, because whenever I first got into cars in general, Grip Oil is definitely one of the first brands I ever heard of, because you're holding a fucking steering wheel every time you drive a car. So
yeah, man, you gotta grip it.
but like that, you were one of the first brands, and I never even knew your name until probably 2 or 3 years after even knowing the brand.
Good.
So I think you did a phenomenal job at making sure that was the way it was.
Thank you. I'll take that.
Of course.
But yeah.
Well, jumping off of that topic, give me a rundown on like kind of your childhood, where you came from, who you are.
Oh, childhood. Well, I'm still a child. No.
Well, anybody that's a car guy is just a grown-up child.
No, and I say that I'm really not. I'm very much being the business owner and having to go through learning curves of all that has definitely taught me how to grow up. But no, so I don't know, had a pretty good childhood. I would say pretty good. I had a great childhood. My parents kicked ass.
That's awesome.
Both my parents are from up north. They are both ex-military. They've traveled internationally a lot. They've lived internationally. I was born in England, but while my parents were stationed there, still a U.S. citizen though. Don't let anybody get confused. Constantly complicating my life whenever I go to like apply for stuff. But yes, thanks, Mom and Dad. But yeah, so my parents bounced around a lot. We ended up in the Mississippi Gulf Coast area because of an Air Force base down there. Awesome. That's where I spent most of my youth, and my parents are both very disciplinary and structured. My dad's home hot rodder guy, so I was into cars like straight away. Like as a baby, I loved cars, always loved cars. As I got into like middle school and high school, I dated a girl one time, like 2 weeks into dating, like we were kids, but she's like, you love your car more than me. And I was like, yeah, I do. Duh. I do. Like I've been loving cars way before you came around. It's been 2 weeks I've known you lately. But no, man. So just always was around like the hot rod and classic car scene. On the Gulf Coast, there's a huge week-long event called Cruising the Coast. I've heard of that. Cruising the Coast. And it's gone on like pretty much since I've been alive, and it's a week long. It spans across 5 cities. So like every year my dad's going to the local car shows, but really he's like prepping for this week long hot rod classic car thing. So it's always been a part of my life. And
that's awesome.
Bought my first car when I was like 13 or 14. Got a CRX. It was wrecked in the front. My dad's like, you save up your birthday money, we'll buy you something that's broken and we'll fix it. And, as a kid, he's always like making me do stuff. He and my mom were always like, you got to do all these chores. You got to help me build this. You got to fix this, paint that. And as a kid,
very militant household.
I just want to go play. And my friends, like I even at one point was like, my friends don't want to stay the night because in the morning you're like making them do chores with me. But now as an adult, once I became independent, like had my own house and stuff, I was like,
I see why.
Oh, dude, it crushed. My work ethic is so high. I love working. I love what I do now because I've worked so hard to get to a point where I can do something I enjoy. Yeah. And there's still things I don't like about work, but my work ethic pushes me through, and it's totally because of how my parents raised me.
I 100% agree with that, because I've said it before in podcasts. I come from a military family, so I've always had that militarized, however the fuck you say it. Yeah, militant household where you do your chores no matter what job you're doing, even if it's digging shit. You be the best shit digger there is, you know.
Yeah.
And that phrase alone has replayed, just stuck on repeat in my head my entire life. So I'm here for it.
Yeah.
With the work ethic thing. God damn, I can't speak right now.
Yeah, they pushed me into that, and so like I said, like I wanted a car since I was a kid, and played with cars, and then when I was like 13 or 14, my dad's like, "Hey, I found this Honda CRX," which we're talking, this is probably like later 90s, and so the car wasn't that old either.
Yeah,
but it was a like 89 CRX, and it had front end damage. And so I bought it with like birthday money, and my dad's like, "You can help me fix it." And it'd just be me like complaining. "Oh, it's hot out here." Yeah. And he's, "Hold the flashlight, boy." Like that kind of stuff. And we fixed it up. He sold it because I didn't really help, and then kind of just did the same thing a couple more times. So day I turned 15, I'd already been studying for driver's license, went and got my learner's permit. That was my birthday gift. Like, it was like the day I turned 15, take me to go get my learner's permit. Driving around with my mom. My mom's like, "Yeah, you can drive," like, because she's got to ride with me for 6 months. So like, I'm driving everywhere, my parents' cars. When I got 15 and a half, you're able to get your intermediate. Did that the day I could get my license. I was the first in my friend group to have my license and have a car.
Yeah.
Of course, it wasn't like a super cool car, but it was a car.
You had somewhere to get from point A to point B.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So everybody's piling in. I was taking all my friends to school. Of course, it had to be a stick. My parents required me to drive manual, which, again, thank you guys.
Yeah.
And
my parents pushed that heavily on me.
Yeah, and I
They
understand.
never forced me, I'd say, but like I did an automatic, and then I was like, I got really curious myself because of how much talk my parents always did of a manual. My mom always drove a manual. My dad always had whenever I was growing up, a manual 5-speed S10.
Yeah.
So like I was always around,
used to seeing it.
Yeah, I was always just used to it, and then I was like, once I drove an automatic, I was like, dude, I feel so fucking lazy right now.
Yeah.
What am I doing? And I was like, all right, Dad, let's take the Sentra out. Let me see if I can get it right. And I finally got it. Never went back since.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're into cars, it's like you like putting the effort in to drive a manual because you have more control.
Yeah, that's what I've always said. You actually have control over the car.
Exactly. So yeah, I taught all my friends how to drive stick, and that was always fun. Like, a lot of I want to say all my friends, but a lot of my friends when we were like 16, 17, I'm teaching them how to drive stick. And now looking back on it, it's like such an awesome memory, like, like I got one.
How many people I've taught to?
Yeah, right.
I agree.
Yeah. And at the time, you're not doing it for any reason except to get them out there. Right. It's like, hey man, you could go get a car too. And they're cheaper if they're manuals. They normally don't even have a radio in them or anything. It's like cars were so simple then. But yeah, man. So I'll transition into drifting. So I did a couple cheap, little fixer-upper cars with my dad, and got to driving. And, this is Fast and Furious 1 is out. And I'm going down the Gulf Coast, there's a lot of casinos. So I'm constantly going to arcades. That's when again, this is pre-mobile phone. I mean, people had mobile phones, but they were just phones.
Yeah, flip phones.
So,
and
stuff
phones,
like that. Like BlackBerry was like the business phone. It had just come out, the first one. And so kids were actually like going places to hang out instead of doing it more virtually. We had instant messenger and stuff, but like
Nintendo DS with the little chat room things you could
DS
do on those, bro.
No, this is probably like Nintendo. Well, I guess maybe DS was out.
I think DS was out then.
Or no, it would have been like GameCube. Era.
Fuck, man. GameCube was awesome, dude. I love the GameCube.
But so like DDR, Dance Dance Revolution, was like really big, and all the casinos had badass arcades. Okay. So a lot of the kids who were like into gaming and stuff, that's where we'd go hang out, was at the casinos. Because you can go in, there'd be this huge arcade. Basically, they want you to dump your kids in the arcade before you go gamble. So DDR was huge. Initial D, the arcade games where you could have the card printout. So you basically play the game. Have you ever played it?
I haven't actually played. Well, I may have when I was little. I don't know. If I did, I don't remember it.
Okay,
I'll say that.
so they're your typical driving game at an arcade.
Yeah.
Seat, steering wheel, shifter. But when you play with the card reader, which is when they all came out, they all had it, and then they all just got broken and people didn't care.
Of course.
Arcades went down. People started playing like Candy Crush on their phones and stuff like that. But
you boring fucks.
But so yeah, you go to the arcade and you play, you build, you're basically just like the show Initial D. You battle somebody, and then if you pass them, you battle the next person. It gets harder and harder and harder.
Gotcha.
Well, you choose your car. When you're done, it stamps like holes in this playing card. So it has like Initial D graphics all over it. And it stamps holes in it. But you can come back later, load your card in, and pick back up on your story mode.
What?
Yeah, so it's like story mode that you keep a physical card. So you're like, you have your card and you're like, if we want to battle, like if you don't want to play story mode, but we want to like tandem battle on the game, we can both load our car. And as you progress, you like mod the car more and it gets better. So you could be like, oh yeah, well I got a maxed out car. And you'd load it in and we'd battle, and there'd be like a line of people trying to do that. And so that, and then I went to this, Hondas were huge, everybody wanted a Honda. Straight line, street racing and drag racing and stuff was big. Having a B16 swapped CRX or
yeah, you were the golden kid of the neighborhood.
They were like EG hatches were everywhere, right? I go to this dude's house that was a couple years older than me, and he's a big Honda guy, and he's got this giant projection TV, like the big box TVs, and he's watching these Japanese like racing videos. And I'm like, what the hell is this dude doing? It's called drifting. And it was a dude in an old AE86 Corolla, which obviously that's like the main car in Initial D as well. And he's driving, and he's like, you've probably seen the video. He's like, I forget the guy's name. But he's going up the straight, and as he's hauling ass up the straight, the wheel up front, he's just jerking it left and right, and then he's like flicks in. So he's like driving down a straight, gaining speed, but the whole time he's doing this with the steering wheel. And he flicks it in, and I'm like, dude, I was hooked. I'm watching this DVD and I got lost. And so I've already been playing Initial D, so I think drifting's cool, but I'm watching the anime. Yeah. I'm playing the arcade game, but that's like it. And then, dude, I saw this and I was like, I got to get one of these Corollas.
No matter what, that's the future.
I need a Corolla now. And it's like the slowest car too. Yeah. So, but I'm like, I've got to get one, man. And so I had switched up a few cars, like I said, these fixer-upper cars. I finally got a nice car. I got a VR6 Mark III Jetta. So it's like,
sick.
Yeah, so it's like leather, power windows, power locks. It's got nice speakers in it. Seats. It's got torque. It's like, just really nice. I'm going from these like.
That was like my first modded car. It was an 03 Jetta with the VR6 in it.
No way. Okay.
Loved that car so much.
Yeah, with the VR6 too. That's a stout motor, right? But
yeah.
So I got this. I've upgraded to a nice car that like my girlfriend actually wants to ride in.
Yeah.
And I go and trade it to this guy for a AE86 Corolla. He had swapped the motor to, it's a silver top 20 valve motor from Japan. Nobody knew anything about this thing. Every wire was exposed. It was a hodgepodge home backyard before the internet had all this information. The car was really clean, but I traded him straight up for this home turboed 20 valve silver top AE86, which anybody who's familiar with the cars, they'd be like, man, it sounds pretty sick. And it was. Yeah. But I was like 16 and I didn't know shit about actually working on cars. I'm still like holding the flashlight for my dad and watching Fast and Furious and Initial D all the time. That's pretty much my background on cars. So I got this like massive hodgepodge project from this dude. We traded pink slips or titles, whatever. And there's that Fast and Furious talk.
Yeah, I know.
So we drove across from Biloxi to Ocean Springs, this giant bridge. I don't know the distance. Maybe it's like 1.5 miles, 2 miles or something. It's a pretty long bridge over the water. I drive across that, meet this guy at a Sonic, trade titles, get in the car. Halfway across the bridge, it starts cutting up and spitting and backfiring and stuff.
Oh, fuck.
I end up get across the bridge. Me and my buddy are pulled over in a parking lot for like 4 hours, waiting on my dad to come rescue him. And that was my life for the next 7 or 8 months, dude. I would
wrenching.
Dude, I would be working on it in the parking lot at school. I'd like get to school and it would break down, and I'd be like, well, when I get out of school, I guess I'll be in the parking lot. My dad come have to tow me. I kept a strap in the car because I was just like, somebody's probably gonna have to tow me. And everybody would hang out like on Friday nights at back then it was in Gulfport. There's it's called Rice Pavilion. It's just a big parking lot basically. But,
Yeah.
My goal, as a kid in high school, I was like, I just want to go show my car off. I just want to go park and talk about it with people. And I was so ecstatic. And every Friday that thing would shit a bucket. Yeah, dude, it would be broke down every Friday for like the first 7 or 8 months, man. So
all of y'all motherfuckers just felt that one. I know you did.
Yeah, for real. Right? Yeah, it's but after that car, we moved up to Memphis. I brought it with me. It's still just too much for me because it was so heavily modified. Had it been like the stock 16 valve 4AG,
yeah,
it would have made sense. I could have like referenced information online or gotten like a Haynes manual or something or whatever. But it was just way too modified for me to keep properly. I never should have got rid of it. Of course, that's how anybody with these era cars are now.
Yeah,
you never got rid of it. But I ran through a few AE86s. I started drifting, did my first drift event in that car. Before we moved up to Memphis, I went out to Inno Drift back in the forum days. Like I told you, everybody knows everybody because we're all on these forums. So Inno Drift was the New Orleans Drift forum. And I went out there to No Problem Raceway was the name of the track. And it was like a peanut-shaped road course. So I got to do my first drift event in that car. My dad drove me and my buddies out. Like he trailered it and we all fell asleep like little children in the back seat, like piling up on each other. But it was my first drift event. My dad fully supported it. He was so into it. Both my parents supported it. And so did that one event down there. And what's crazy is some of those guys are still active in the drifting community as well. We're still good friends. They're still, Inno Drift's still around. They host events at the, what's the New Orleans track? But the New Orleans track now is like really nice. It's a big multiple courses and stuff. Yeah. But Inno Drift, that was some of their first events too. So like, we're all like, drifters on this forum, but we're like, we've never done an event. We're like,
we're all new, but we're the guys.
Yeah, exactly. But that was drifting back then. It was like stock S chassis that people were like, oh yeah, I went to my local muffler shop and had them put on a fart can on the back. You know? But the cars weren't super old, so they were pretty good cars, and we just didn't. There was no expectation either. We're watching these videos of mostly people in cars like this, like.
Yeah, you're just going off of what you saw. Yeah,
but that was the sport too. It's like pro cars were like when Formula D started, it was like an SR swapped S13 with coilovers. That was a pro
maybe
car.
Pushing 400 horsepower.
Oh, I even doubt that. Like I bet most of the cars were just straight up like. So I have no facts to back this, but I bet you someone had a stock KA at the first year of Formula D.
I'm sure.
So those guys, some of them first event as well, moved up to Memphis, got a couple other Corollas, started doing the events with traction optional. Yeah. And got rid of the Corollas because the parts were more expensive and just kept harder to find. Like I'd go to an event, everybody had a S chassis. I was like, fuck, I'm the only guy with a Corolla. And if I break something, like, again, I'm still young. So I'm like, I don't have spares. And nobody does that yet. So it just snowballed, man. Now multiple S chassis. I've got an off-road S chassis that we've built that I'm just about to finish up on phase 2. We popped the first motor, and About to go pick up a 350Z. I'm a
Yeah,
little
we
late
talked
to
about
the
that
Z
one.
game.
Which
But
it's fine. It's fine.
yeah, we're gonna get.
It's just kind of getting in there where the Z's are taking over what the 240s were. And
exactly. You go to an event and the Z's and G's are everywhere.
yeah, I love the generational thing. Every generation has its designated car.
Yeah,
And I think the A90 Supra will be the next one.
you think so?
I think that's my guess. Since there's so many people like interested in designing parts for that thing already.
Yeah.
In 20 plus years or so, I think that'll be the car.
They did come out with a manual gearbox. Okay.
Even without that, like the LZ and Drift HQ guys, they're working on the what is that?
Like converting the paddles or whatever?
Yeah, because an automatic transmission in a BMW, a newer BMW, is still a manual transmission.
Yeah,
it's just got... Yeah, so I never really comprehended that until I drove an M6, where you can, when you're pressing on the gas, it feels like the clutch is engaging. There's just no clutch there, and they figured out a way to where you can still manually shift it, like a sequential almost.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, Adam has quite a couple videos on that where they were testing it, and
it's too rich for my blood.
Yeah, I got to see Duarte's car like at the 4th of July event, and see that in there, and that was really cool. But it's definitely a long way from its prime whatsoever. But I think with the integrations it's already getting, that'll be the car. Yeah, that'll take over the Z.
I would counter with BMWs, just like in general. It's like, because there's a lot of them out there, and it seems like
they're like LSs. They're just like Legos. They all piece together some way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe there'll be another LS platform that comes out that's good, because, I mean, Corvette's transitioned away from like a driftable, a driftable
mid-engine
car.
now.
Yeah, and Camaros and Mopar stuff's all like so big. It just doesn't really...
Most Mopar stuff don't even... It's all automatic. True automatic.
Yeah, they don't even do stick, do they?
Yeah. Challenger is the only one that has a manual in it, other than Viper.
Really? Oh.
But, what was I... Oh, so since you have been kind of in the drift world for so long, what is, like, would you say the most drastic change you've seen over this period of time?
The
good and bad.
Yeah, I mean, the transition in drifting, I would say it's just bigger. Like the sport is more well understood and known to the general public. We're seeing a lot of marketing. Like, dude, any car commercial, whether it's, and most of them, even if they're not rear-wheel drive, you're gonna see them like out on like the Salt Flats or wherever it is out west, and they're like ripping through a corner, looking like they're drifting, right? Yeah. It's just like on every car commercial now. I don't know, man. It's just everything is bigger and badder and faster than it was before. Like, more people know about it. There's more cars that are capable, more cars that are obtainable, more part availability. You know, we kind of discussed it before. Is like if you get into drifting now, you not only do you have the opportunity to just get a car and, you know, swipe your card, order some parts, they show up at your house, you bolt them on, they're like ready to go out of the box, right? Yeah. But also your expectation of what drifting is not what it was back when, like when I started in like 2005.
Yeah.
We're watching videos of dudes like open diff sliding around a four-way, like just hitting some little baby corner, and they're like
just basically power sliding.
Yeah, that's like power sliding in the rain, and they're doing that, and we're like, oh, he's killing it, he's the best. And like, now people get into it and they're like, you know, I see Matt Field do drift week in his pro level Corvette.
It's just a normal thing now.
I should get a Corvette and throw all the Part Shop Max catalog on it and go do drift week with Lone Star. Like, I'm just gonna, that looks like fun, I'm just gonna go do that. And to be fair, that's kind of one of the pitches that they have, is like, you will get so much seat time in this week. Like, someone who just started drifting and goes and does one of those week-long events at all these various tracks will probably have more actual real-life seat time than someone who drifted even on a pro level from like 2000 to 2010.
Yeah.
Like some of the guys that
100%.
inspired me to drive, like somebody I always really idolized when I was younger, and I don't know what his whole career included, but like Alex Pfeiffer was one of the drivers that I watched that really inspired me. Like I was telling you before, from the old DVD that I watched, Drift Society.
Yeah.
That was Randy. He went by Ronzo. So I watched this DVD religiously when I lived on the Gulf Coast, and when I moved up to Memphis, here he is. He's one of the guys that formed Traction Optional, and I can't even believe it. But unfortunately, those guys did all this work and really brought the sport to the States.
Yeah.
But it was before it was a thing here. So they're kind of before their time and paved the way for us. So I'm sure they got plenty of seat time, but now, you know, like I watched Randy come back, and in Japan, he had all these parts and stuff. And I hope he doesn't think that this is like dogging him or anything, but he came back to the States, and like, he was a big rotary FC guy.
Yeah.
And the car just always gave him shit, man.
Yeah,
We would travel to Nashville or Atlanta or wherever we went, and that car would ruin his day.
Yeah.
I watched it as like the pit guy. I was like the pit kid. You know, I was young. I couldn't afford to travel.
Yeah,
I didn't
of
have
course.
a car, and like, I'm just going with these guys that are, you know, my mentors.
It's along for the ride.
Yeah, and I just want to be around it. I love it. And I'd watch this guy be pissed off at this car that's just never acting right. And now you could be like, I want to get into drifting, and I'm just going to buy this Z that has a blown motor, buy all the parts, drop in a 5.3 out of a Yukon.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go do Drift Week and get, you know, however many, 100 hours of seat time in a week.
Absurd.
Like, dude,
unnatural amount of hours.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. Like, I've done more drifting in the last 3 years than the 15 years before that collectively.
Jesus.
It's crazy.
That's so wild.
But it's awesome. And that's kind of goes back to, you and I had slightly hit on this, you know, when we had lunch, is
you want what you can't have. This whole generation is so spoiled with attention span, and everything being just fed to them for free.
Well, not even just that. It's the whole, the golden era has passed us. Like, it hasn't. This is the best. And I know there are other people out there advocating this same thing. It's like, there is not a better time to get into or fire up that car that's been in the shed for years, like that you know, your life took over, and you're like, I'm not selling the car, but I also, all my buddies have gotten out of it, and I don't know anyone. And nah, dude, today is the time to go drift. Like, especially because there's all these tracks shutting down and stuff. Like, it might not last forever. The future of the sport might not. We don't know. And I don't have anything to back that to say it's the end is coming. But like, you know, but now
the government
is
maybe.
I mean, but no, like, it's the best time to go. There are more events. I was just on the phone with Nick Swan yesterday, and we were talking about how there are so many events that we quite literally have to choose between events on the same weekends. And that sucks. But at the same time,
that's
it's
a
blessing.
Good problem to have.
It's a blessing. Yeah. And the only thing that I don't want to see is that we completely oversaturate the events and the market. And that comes down to, again, you have to pick and choose. So like, if there's an event that's like not, if they've been doing events for years, and I hate to say this, sorry, some of you event organizers, but like, if there's someone that's been running events for a long time and they're not adding to it, and you're watching all these people in the city next to you, like, their events get better and they're adding to it, and they're adding features to the track, or they're reinvesting into the track, or their drivers, or they're offering prizes or whatever, go support those events. Because if we get to the point where everyone's just doing like bottom of the line work,
Yeah.
and you're ditching out on the people who are like busting their ass to make it an awesome drift event happen in lieu of, oh, this one's like half an hour closer. You know, if we get to that point where there's just a drift event going on every 2 hours, you know, it's like, we don't want to oversaturate the scene to the point where all the good stuff gets dropped and we're all just like, oh, we're just...
Yeah, the expectations are too high and nobody wants anything to do with it because it doesn't meet any of their expectations.
Yeah.
I always say that now is definitely the most easiest time to get into drifting, but it's also the most humbling because everyone else's expectation of you and anyone getting into drifting, like, you already have this image of how someone drifts, like we were talking about earlier.
It's not a little skirt. It's
like you already expect people, but drifting is such an unnatural sport too, that even though it is very humbling in that aspect, you will still have almost every single one of those drivers come up to you and try and help you through that.
Oh, absolutely.
As well. So I don't know. I'll always advocate for this sport, man.
Humble yourself is kind of what you're
correct. Yeah, because that's people. I have a lot of newbie viewers. Yeah. So people getting into drifting, I found that the thing they like holds them back the most is just embarrassment, simply.
Oh, for sure.
Because they see all of these amazing drivers and they see how good they are. I don't want to get out there and be worse than them. And like, we were all in that spot. Every single one of us.
Absolutely.
Just do it.
Absolutely. And well, in that being said too, it's like, if you just started the sport, don't get all upset that you're not driving grid life. Like, that's an application style event. It's a huge road course. There's like 60 cars on track at the same time. There's pros out there in $80,000 cars that is their livelihood. So like, you know your place, you know, like if you're just started, don't be embarrassed to go to a grassroots event and spin out and stuff like but humble yourself. Like you're saying, don't go out there and be like, I'm gonna crush it, man. Yeah. Listen to the rules, ask people questions, be willing to learn, because that's what's fun about drifting. Like drifting is challenge, and we like the challenge. And that's kind of where all these mods, like, dude, you can get a car now and slap all this stuff on it, and like, I see a lot of this now running events too. It's guys think they can buy their talent, and drift. You can only get so far with having the right cars, like the right parts. You have to have your car set up. That's a big thing, especially if you want dependability. Because like if your car's not properly set up, you're going to be fighting it. You're going to be aggravated. Things aren't just going to work well.
Yeah, but if the driver mod isn't dependable, yes, you're not going to get very far with whatever parts.
And with all these mods too, you see a lot of this, like it's a crutch. So like a lot of these drivers, they can get out of situations because of not knocking on big angle. Like it's part of drifting now. Yeah. I come from before modded knuckles and angle kits and all this stuff. Like, so there was a while, an era where we were all like, you don't need that. Like that's cheating. No, but like the sport's big.
For me, I still kind of live by that era of mentality. I don't know if it's just because I have kind of an old soul, but like I personally don't think even with 1,000 horsepower, you don't need wise fab angle. Like it's just unnecessary amount of angle. But there are some cases where it could save you from totaling your car. Yes, and that's what I see is important with angle. Yeah. Other than that, if you're just trying to learn, keep it fucking stock angle or as minimal angle as possible.
Plus the KISS mentality too, when you're just getting into anything. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
Simple. You know, but then you see a lot of that as these guys are trying to buy their way into what their expectation is. And dude, just driver mod. Focus on yourself. Focus on your driving. Focus on your line. There's a lot of guys I see with these built LSs with crazy angle kits. The cars look awesome. They even go so far as to be like, you know, radiators in the back and fire suppression system, and I mean, which is great. Safety, go all out for sure. Nobody wants to see you like fried up like a chicken leg, man. Like, but when it comes to these overly built cars, Well, if you don't know how to run a good line, like you just don't run a good line. Linking
I
the
have
course
a
is different.
perfect example for that. So I'm not gonna call any names. I don't want to do that.
Call them out. Call
them out, mate. No, this was somebody I knew. They're no longer in drifting anymore. But they had never built a car for drifting. They had never really drifted other than randomly a couple times in someone's car and then on a sim, but cheap sims like the G29 or whatever, the Logitech stuff. So we kept they kept saying they wanted to get into drifting for so long. We told them just get your simple seat time car, keep it as simple as possible, blah blah blah. This person was very elaborate, very artistic, I guess. So they wanted all the style stuff, like they wanted to make it presentable and all this. Built this car from bare shell, no suspension, no nothing.
Dang.
All the way to literally a pro spec level car.
Yeah.
For their first car. And throughout this entire probably 3-4 year span of them building this car,
God, I hate
everyone around them had told them, stop, do not put that cart on your cart. Do not fully build this LS. Do not fucking do all of this shit. And you're literally telling them you're just going to wreck it as soon as you get out there. They had done, during the process, they had done a couple laps in a Z, and then a couple laps in a KA 240. That was all the drifting, real life drifting they had ever done. And fast forward, they got the car completely done. They take it to, I think it was the first or second event, and completely cripple this car.
Oh man,
completely. And
4 years
from
of
then, never got back into drifting.
Yeah, and I see that a lot too with these overbuilt. Well, you know, I'm kind of hitting both ends of the sword here, or spectrum, sword, whatever. You know, there's guys that are building the cars and they're dependable because they have these, because the recipe's already set up and they're dependable, but they kind of just, it's taking them longer because they're kind of crutched on driver development because they can link the course and they can tandem and stuff. But it's like, man, I'm not tandeming with you because no offense, I just can't afford to fix my stuff because you're not running a line that I like. It's not something that I would run. It's not predictable to me, and that's kind of all of it. I'm not comp tandeming. I don't comp drive. I'm not into that. It's not for me.
I mean,
I'll fall to pieces, man. I don't have the mental strength to handle the stress.
My thing is I get too competitive. You'll get too
wreck
into
the car.
it. I'll destroy the car in order to win, and I don't want to do that. No. I don't have the wallet to do that.
Yeah, exactly. But then you get what was I saying?
Overbuilding and
dude, all right, so like dude spends all this time and all this money for something he thinks he wants to do. Bad first experience, now he's out, man, and that sucks because the sport doesn't have to be that way. It is expensive. It is very you have to endure it. Like it is you're going to work on your car for months if not years and do it over and over and over again just to get minutes of seat time. Yeah. Like you're doing full paychecks and weeks of work for minutes, but it's worth it when it works. Yeah. And do that seat time car, man. It's just a great way. You see all these guys with these fully built cars, they're like, even the pro guys, they're like also have a seat time car.
And a lot of times their seat time car is junk. Yeah. Like absolute junk.
Or it's just like a stock anything with the essentials, you know. At a certain point, it's still expensive. Like to me, like my Corvette, I love it. I just drove it 4.5 hours or 4 hours here. I drove it 4.5 hours to St. Louis last week. And to me, when people are like, what's done to it? I'm like, oh, it's just the basics. And they're like, oh, it's not it. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty much stock. I'm like, well, what's done to it? I'm like, oh, well, coilovers. It's got modded knuckles. It's got a hydro in it. It's got all the exhaust and all the intake, and it's got a seat and a steering wheel.
As basic of a bolt-on as it gets.
Yeah, but it's like, well, you start listening, they're like, that's not stock. Well, to me, it is though, because it's stock power. The motor came in the car, stock drivetrain. Yeah. None of the interior is removed. it's the opposite of what I spent the last 15 years doing. And that thing is the best like investment for enjoying drifting that I've ever done, man. That's why I said I've gotten more seat time in the last 3 years because of that.
Yeah.
And that's given me the opportunity to go get seat time. That's my seat time car. But I can also drive it on road trips. I can go get groceries in it. Me and my wife can go somewhere and we're not like getting out like sweating our, my hair's all poofy and
Yeah.
we could go on a date in it if we wanted to. Sorry, Lauren, we haven't.
Called your own self out in the park.
Yeah, sorry, honey. But that's it, dude. And it brings that passion back from like your guy you were talking about earlier. It's like, man, that seat time car is essential. And especially now that that's a thing, even for these highly built cars, man, because you overbuild the car, breaking stuff. You're fixing stuff all the time. It's expensive. You burn, even if you don't break stuff, man, you burn it through a pair of tires in like a lap or two.
Yeah.
So anything that's over 500 wheel horsepower, like just get ready because it's expensive just to not break it.
Yeah.
And use it.
You almost need $1,000 a month just to throw towards the car.
For sure.
If you're driving it on a consistent basis.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a gap that the newbies don't understand. Is just the only reason a lot of those big drivers have those cars is because they've gone through every little incremental thing they can to drain their wallet. And the last thing they want to do that on is another car that's solely there to just give them seat time.
Yeah.
So
well, and keep it simple. But these guys that do have fully built cars that have seat time cars. So to the newbies, like start with the seat time car. Don't go all the way in out the gate because just look, the circle comes back. The circle of drift. It comes back around. Like these guys are building these full cars. And then what are they ending up with? They're coming right back to a seat time car because they love the sport.
And y'all thought that name was just nonsense.
Ha ha ha.
I did that on purpose.
Yeah.
It came from the circle of life. So that was the main drive towards it. And I was like, but like everything revolves in drifting. So like it just worked. Sorry.
Yeah.
That was
no, it does. We just applied it right there in that conversation. So I don't know, man. I hate to hear that somebody spent all that time. It's not even just the money. Like some people have great income and it's just, they could build a full race car on their own private budget and good for them. Like that's not everyone.
I say that all the time. If you got the money to do so, do whatever you want. Like don't get me wrong, but I'm just preaching to those people that are like that spent not just the money, but the time away from family, kids, like anything like that. Like don't sacrifice that shit for some hunk of metal, bro. That's just dumb.
Well, do it, but don't do it out the gate.
I would say like kids, stuff like that. Don't sacrifice that for your car. That always comes first.
Yeah. But and don't do that out the gate because you're setting yourself up for disaster.
Exactly.
Or hindering yourself. We go back to the guys who they can link the course, but they're not running a line, So it's just not a great way to start. Like kind of ease into it, just like anything else. Like you don't need to go. If you're learning, learn it incrementally. Don't see what somebody who spent 20 years in the sport. Don't use them as an example and a goal, but don't be like, on my first month, I'm going to have what that person has and do exactly what they're doing with 20 years they've invested into this sport, and that goes for any sport, you got to pay your dues.
Oh yeah.
You got to practice. Practice makes perfect.
Would you say that's like the biggest lesson you've learned in drifting so far? Or you got something
that's a
better
big
than that?
lesson, but I don't know, man. Drifting's taught me so much.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I have like one single lesson. I think the humble yourself, like you really kind of hit it there. But that's kind of like a general life thing. But I'm pretty big headed, especially when I was younger. When I was younger and I started the company and it was doing really well as a new concept, now there's a lot of competitors that are doing what we're doing and the market's gotten kind of saturated. So, but we're established now. But when it first started, man, and I was, or even back drifting, like back in the day, like I did a comp at our local track.
Yeah.
When I was like 19 or something in my Corolla. And like, it was like me and the other younger guy. And we were like the two that won first and second.
Yeah.
Versus a bunch of older guys and like 200 horsepower cars instead of 100 horsepower cars. And that shit went to my head so hard, dude.
Oh,
I was
I'm sure.
I'm one of the best drivers around here.
Can't touch this.
Yeah. And now, thanks to social media and the internet and everything being so fully, weaved together, I think it's a little easier to humble yourself because you can see everybody else. You can be a big fish in a small pond, but like you're able to look at all the other ponds. So you start to realize it's a big ocean out there. So humbling yourself is a big thing. And I don't know, man, as far as what I've learned, what I could say is a good lesson from drifting, it's the endurance. It's not the end. Like, we all want the end result. We want seat time. Yeah. Like, I just want to be in the car drifting. If I didn't have to paint another steering wheel for the rest of my life or do like even this, like if we could be in our cars right now drifting versus this, no offense, I'd rather be there. That's of course. That's where my heart and soul wants to be all the time. But it ain't that simple. So it's like, shit, I don't even know where I was going.
I think that pertains to realistically any industry, not just drifting. If you're passionate about something, you've got to be in it for the long haul, not just the endurance. Enticing moments.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's tough, man. Like you just said, like homie wrecked his car after 4 years building it. Like I've seen a lot of people come and go in this sport. Yeah. Which is also like from a business, as a business owner, and kind of touching back to like the whole like asking for sponsorships and stuff. It's like now it's very easy for people to be like, yeah, I'm an influencer. I got all these followers. Give me stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, man, I don't know, like something about you, I bet you won't even be into drifting in a year or two. Yeah. And I wish everybody was into drifting because it just makes the sport bigger and better. And we have to weed through, some different attitudes and stuff now and different demeanors that are in the sport. Mm-hmm. It's not like it used to be, but that's fine too. Because like we even said, the golden era hasn't passed us. It's just a different golden era. It's a way
more advanced
bigger.
Golden era.
It's more advanced. Yeah, for sure. It has a lot more features about it. Yeah. So you have to learn them all. If you just want that one way it used to be, well, sorry, that's just one piece of the pie. Yeah. So, that's. I'm rambling, dude.
You're good. Well, tell me about Grip Royal then. I know we kind of discussed a little bit beforehand how you kind of branched into Grip Royal, but what kind of started all of that? The steering wheels.
So yeah, when I was in high school, I've always been kind of like an entrepreneur, businessy, industrial type person. Playing in bands and stuff growing up. I was always like, we got to make merch. I want to press our CDs and, self-taught graphics designer and stuff.
Dude, I used to make these Galaxy shoes, bro. I would paint Galaxy print on shoes and sell that in high school and middle school and stuff. Yeah, dude, I was all about finding ways to make money. Yeah. Monkey Fist. Hustler. You remember those? Nah. I used to make with the little keychain with the paracord, and it was a little ball at the end.
Oh, like the weaved ones?
Yeah, I used to make those. Yeah, because you just buy little ball bearings and put them inside and weave it and shit. They're super easy to make. You
just made weapons in school.
Fuck yeah, bro. $10 a pop. Who wants one?
Yeah. When CD burners first came out, I bought one and it was like a 1X speed. That was like the speed that it burns.
Yeah.
So I had like one of the first CD burners at my middle school and was like on Napster and LimeWire and what was the other one? It's like Kazaa or something like that. I was on all those like pirate download websites, which we all were at that time.
Yeah.
And I would take orders from kids in class and and download the mixtape they wanted and burn it on a CD. So awesome. And we're talking, it'd take me like an hour to burn one CD. And I'd sell those, $5-10 a pop, $5 or $10 back then. The value of a dollar was a lot higher. So, but no, man. So, always been into like business stuff and creative ideas. And, my buddy Chris, well, I had some steering wheels. I had found, these steering wheels that were really high quality. I really liked them. Mm-hmm. Me and my buddies were running them in our cars. And I was like, you know what? I think I think this is a good business model. I was actually working at a shop that like imported used parts from Japan at the time. But they had brought back all these steering wheels that I'm pretty sure they got from like behind, like they were at like a junkyard. And so they're all like really cool wheels. You know, they're like name brand stuff, the stuff that you'd buy for like $300.
Yeah.
But they were all destroyed. And so they brought them back, and we're like trying to sell them for like $250, $200 and stuff. And this is kind of at the era where everybody was still buying used Japanese parts. Like you didn't buy new coilovers. You bought coilovers from Japan that somebody else had already ran. So this was at that transitional period where companies were just starting to like make stuff, and most stuff's produced in like Taiwan and China. So like everything was coming used from Japan, or, you know, if you're a real baller, you're buying it new. But you know, I'm in the Southeast. It's not like California. We weren't like the
we ain't breaking bread that much.
Yeah, we're not like the pioneers of drifting. Everything took a few years to make it to the middle states, you know. But so we're trying to sell these like busted old wheels, and I found these new wheels, and I'm like, yo, we should start selling these and make a brand. It didn't really go anywhere because it was just a side thing for them. So I was like, I want to buy these wheels. I'm going to do this on my own time. And so I bought the inventory that I had convinced my boss at the time to buy. I bought it back from him. I started my own brand. And basically at night, I was on forums. I was on Facebook. This is like before, I think Instagram maybe had just started, but I wasn't on it. There definitely was no Snapchat or TikTok, and Instagram was just pictures. You know, but I was on Facebook, like basically doing cold sales, like reaching out to people. And so I'm starting this brand, just trying to build it. My buddy Chris, who is super creative, and I still turn to him for advice all the time. He's like, I want to paint one of the wheels. I want to paint it neon yellow, which neon colors were super hot then. So he paints a wheel. I was like, well, let's paint another one and throw it on Zilvia, which is like big S chassis parts website and everything, forum. And so we put these wheels on. We put a neon yellow steering wheel and a white painted steering wheel on Zilvia under the name Grip Royal, and I couldn't keep up. Which, of course, I was just like I was a young adult living at my dad's house, trying to do this thing like at night after I've already worked a full day. And it took off. It took off really well. It was a very fresh idea. You know, there was only the white steering wheels, wood steering wheels, and I had seen some like color change Mazora wheels that were coming from Japan, but there wasn't like a bunch of color options, right? So us starting to take like, hey, what color do you want us to paint your wheel? And someone would go, I want like baby blue and I want bright red. And so we started making that, and it was a very original business idea concept. And so I started that at my dad's house. My dad, again, hot rodder guy, so he had built a really nice 2-car detached garage that like matched the house brick, and the roof was like the same as his house. You know, this is like, he built this really nice garage for himself. Well, then I come through and I'm like, move your shit out. I got to paint in here. And
I got a business to run. Get out.
And so I like, sorry, Dad. I painted in his shop for like 2 years, and the whole inside of the shop was like, everything's covered. If you've ever painted a car, man, it dusts everything.
I used to work in a body shop. So totally understand.
Yeah, man. So his floor that he had like spent all this time epoxying is like all gritty and shitty now. And yeah, so
it's like sandpaper.
Oh yeah, and it's just that like dull gray because it's a mix of all the colors that have ever been sprayed. But yeah, so I basically ran Grip Royal out of my dad's house for the first 2 years. It took off. I didn't like the direction that my day job was going, working at that shop. So I decided to go full time with Grip Royal and really pushed it because I saw some momentum. So I was like, I got to keep this up.
Yeah.
And my buddy Chris, I mean, he taught me how to paint. He painted for me when I couldn't. He was just like, but he was like, I don't want to do this. I want a real job that actually has solid income.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, man, thanks. And to be fair, he did right. He put himself back into school. He got an engineering degree, he got a master's in it. He's doing very well for himself, and he still comes and helps me do all this stuff with Grip Roll. He'll travel with me to shows and everything. Yeah. But yeah, man, so it was just me in my room. Then it turned into like another room upstairs at my dad's house. Then like the whole upstairs of my dad's house was Grip Roll. I hired my first employee, which was my good friend Zach. He designed our logos. He had gotten he got a bachelor's degree in graphics design, then couldn't get a graphics job in Memphis. So he was like, I'll come work with you, design my logos, worked with Grip Roll for the first few years. And eventually his graphics career took off. He works at AutoZone corporate now.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice. Which he was actually at the Drift Mansion event. AutoZone doesn't deliver to them. They're so remote, but he got them to run a parts runner back and forth. So weekend long, he's sitting there at an AutoZone table with flags set up. And if a driver broke something, they come to him. He calls the local store and they drive someone out, even though it's outside of their delivery radius.
AutoZone stepping the game up. Yeah, I love that.
Shout out to AutoZone and Zach. Because it all happened because of him, man. And he loves drifting. That's it. Yeah. He's going out of his way to make sure, they're a part of the grassroots community.
So cool.
Then another one of my buddies, Briggs, came and worked with us. So there's like 3 of us at my dad's house. My dad's like, we're upstairs
slaving away.
Dude, we're running a whole business at this place. We're going, and it's all upstairs.
Funny.
So everything that we get in, we have to carry up and down stairs. I'm painting
Toss
steering
it out
wheels.
the window.
No, I'm painting steering wheels and like carrying them with fresh car paint through his house. We were storing them in, we had a closet upstairs that was built in with shelves. And so we were putting them in there so it didn't stink up the whole house, like putting like heaters in there and stuff. And eventually I had to get a actual business location. So we moved to like an office space in town. I set up a paint booth at a buddy's shop, and we decorated the office. It was really cool. We went in and and we're like, it's like 3 22-year-olds, and we're all like, just, oh, what's up, man? Come rent this place. Like, no business etiquette at all. And we're like, but we gotta paint everything. The carpet's gotta go. And we came in, and I had this dude, like the pattern, the like, it's like, looks like elephant skin or like concrete that comes on like, I think it's like Jordans.
Oh yeah.
It's like the like gray with like the little black like cracks in it and stuff. I don't know, elephant skin is kind of what it reminds me of. But we had like some crazy carpet that looked like that. We had some guys come put in.
Oh god,
dude, it was wild. The walls were all mint, like mint green was like super popular in that era. So we had all these like mint everywhere. We had like a monogram on the wall. We spent like 2 weeks decorating this office because we were like, we're real business now. We're not.
We made it.
Yeah, we're not at my dad's house. So worked out of there for a few years and really learned. You're just constantly like reevaluating how do we fit more in this room. We don't have a lot of resources. So how are we going to? And you can't get the right shelves to like store steering wheels and stuff like this. So we're like, how do we build something to make our job easier today? And
just more efficient.
Yeah, efficiency is key, and always reevaluating. Like you can get comfortable, and then 6, 10, 12 months down the road, there's a new, you add something new to the business, or you get another person there, or just anything. You're like, oh, now we've got more of what we had before. So we need to figure out a whole way to double. We thought this was efficient.
Yeah.
We need to figure out a way.
Back and forth.
Yeah. We need to figure out a way now to fit twice as much stuff in here, because efficient is not efficient anymore. So, I didn't go to school for business or anything, but just like I said, kind of hustling. Yeah. Always doing stuff growing up. It just kind of kept me at that.
You had a knack for it.
Yeah. I'd like to think so. And, So we moved from there into a bigger spot. The landlord wasn't very considerate of us being in. We were kind of in like the back corner of this building, and we signed a 1-year contract just as like a test run with him.
Okay.
And it was my previous office building landlord, but we moved in this shop, did all this renovations and stuff, and we would come out and like they'd have like a delivery and they'd leave the truck and like we'd be boxed in and literally couldn't leave work and stuff like that. It was like
What the fuck?
constant headaches where like we're just freaking out, like, dude, what the hell, you know? Just so
What?
yeah, and then crazy after the first year of dealing with that, and I was always pushing the envelope financially too. So like we're constantly pouring back into the business, expanding, trying to get more inventory because this is a ground up build, and there's no
investors.
There's no investors, but there's also no like guide on how to do this.
That's true.
And it's a very fresh concept. And the guy who owned the building before I started Grip Roll and I worked at that shop, that guy knew me from being an employee there. They moved out, and he's a machinist.
Okay.
So I had been having him make small parts for us, like our shift knob adapters for like Euro cars, but they don't have threads and stuff like that. So, he's delivering orders to my new spot, where my business is now.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, you guys really take care of this place. It's really nice. And I'm like, yeah, thanks, man. Like, we busted our ass. Like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I killed the nerves of my hands scraping that first shop's floor. It had like spilled paint all over it.
Oh,
and I used a air chisel with like a 4-inch blade and did a 2,500 square foot shop with this thing going in my hands.
Oh no.
And my hands
Absolutely
are wrecked
not. Yeah.
now, dude. Big mistake there. It's the biggest life lesson. Don't destroy your body for the job. Find a smarter way to do it. At the time I was like, oh, we can't, I don't want to rent a $400 floor scraper machine.
Yeah.
And instead I'll do this for 2 days and destroy my hands for the rest of my life. So
I think that's the nature of a car guy. And just kind of especially the era you grew up in.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh yeah, my dad was
either become self-sufficient or just die.
Yeah.
Like,
and my dad's the one that was like, you want safety glasses? What are you, a baby or something? And now I'm like, Dad, don't shame me for trying to not go get a $20,000 doctor bill because I got stuff in my eye and had to go to the ER. Like, you know, because it's easy to be like, man, just come on, tough up. I was definitely that.
Now, the whole doctor situation, I hate doctors. I hate going to the doctors. I hate insurance.
It's expensive. I don't mind going, but it's expensive. I'm not trying to do any of that. I don't want to waste the time or the money because I don't have either.
It's just, dude, what pisses me off so much is going to sit there for 10 minutes and not even 10 minutes. You're like there for 10 seconds in front of an actual doctor.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, you're fine. You can leave. And then you got to go pay somebody $150 fucking $200 probably now.
Yeah.
Just for them to tell you you're okay. And that's something that has never sat right with me, no matter what type of insurance you have.
Yeah. That's that. And I think that's more like a general kind of checkup too. Yeah. But if you have to go do like a surgery or something, there's nothing like being scheduled and waiting in the waiting room for an hour and a half. It's like, what kind of business are you guys running here?
Right. This is a joke.
Yeah. But yeah, we went from there, dude. We moved. So my this guy comes to deliver parts. He's like, this place looks great, man. You know, the guys you used to work for are moving out. Would you be interested in moving into my shop?
Yeah.
And I'm like, anything to get out of this place. My landlord, nice guy, but very inconvenient. It's just, he's too busy to consider what we're doing.
Yeah.
To treat us like, you know, kind of like equals. Like, I know we're not equals, but financially, but like, I'm trying to grow a business. You're already established and you keep wrecking me and my guys. We can't get out or into work. And so he comes through and just is like, hey man, are you in a contract? I was like, my contract here actually ends in a month or two. And we moved up to this guy's shop, which is circling back around, man. The circle of the trip.
So
it's
cool.
Where I started working for someone else. Now it's my shop. And
no fucking way.
Yeah, man. And we went in, of course, for me too, big aesthetically, especially if now we're using social media to run the company.
Mm-hmm.
So aesthetically, the shop has to look good. That's a requirement. It's not a want, it is a need.
Yeah.
And best time to decorate your garage or your shop is before you put all the stuff in it. So we go through, paint the floors, clean the walls, paint all the office and stuff, move some stuff around that needed forklifts, added pallet racks where we needed to. I've got a 4,000 or 4,500 square foot shop. It's a huge shop that we run. So we've got all of Grip Royal's like order processing, our offices. We're running like assembly for all of the steering wheels because every single steering wheel gets handled by Mike and I. So then Mike gets added. We downsized as the shop got bigger. We had to learn that I had to go through some learning phases, and unfortunately I had to like cut some of my crew because we're like doing a lot more hanging out than working some days, which is weird, man. That's a big lesson too, doing a small business that's like a startup. Who are you going to hire? You're going to hire your friends, especially if you're younger and everybody doesn't have established career paths yet. So I hired a bunch of buddies. We had a vision, but the workload and mostly my fault because I wasn't a phenomenal leader or business owner or manager. You know, I'm still hanging out with the homies. We're just clocking in every day.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of break that fine line of business and pleasure.
It is hard because we want that fine line. That's what this job is. I'm not trying to make it be like a corporate job. I want you to come in and for us to actually be friends and work together on a goal. And we just kind of lost sight of that. So we had to downsize as we moved into that shop. I had to downsize our crew. It ended up being just my boy Mike and I, which we have a long history, grew up together as kids, both relocated to Memphis. So we both need this to work. We locked down real hard, moved in this bigger shop, man. Every single steering wheel that comes in gets handled by either he or I. Every one of them gets boxed. We make all our product packaging comes from another friend of ours in town. We produce a lot of the small parts in shop. Mike makes every shift knob on a lathe now by himself. So it's like every single shift knob that's ever been sold by Grip Royal, especially the acrylic ones. In almost all of the acrylic shift knobs that we make are 100% made from scratch from Mike. I made some for a while. Damn. We had some of the other guys making some, but like that dude's made like thousands of shift knobs.
And has the shift knobs, was that like there from the beginning pretty much?
No. So we just started with the steering wheels, and then I did some like beer tap shift knobs that we produced. We produced those overseas. We produced those in China. But we had to assemble them and everything. So I made them look just like a beer tap. Yeah. But they're threaded for, multiple shifters and stuff. And these things were big and bulky and they were real wood. Nah, they were cool though, but it was like that fad kind of faded out too. Yeah. And it became another one of those things where it's like, we don't have full control over it because we have to produce the parts. We have to wait on the parts. I want stuff here that we can make to the customer spec. So I figured out how to turn parts on a lathe and try to replicate that same concept. And then I was like, why am I trying to make beer taps? So basically, we were like, let's make shift knobs that actually like feel good in your hand for like drifting and racing and stuff. And just fine tune on that. So we've all learned so many tasks, or not tasks alone, but like skill sets from Grip Royal. That's basically Grip Royal formed because I like drifting. It's all come back to drifting. And that's why I still, I told you earlier, when we started the company, I had to drive around in this white van. I'm going to all these drifting events and racing events and car shows. But I don't have a car. I have a car, and I started this company because I love my car and going to these things. I want to go to these events, but it just robbed my soul. I'm going to all these events and like
Yeah.
people are like, would you drive here? I'm like, Chevy Express. It's parked right there, the white one, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, you have to do that. You have to
You gotta sacrifice a little
you got to
bit.
sacrifice. You got to learn where your highs and lows are and make improvements. And it's just not gonna, you can't look at a company that's already established and be like, oh, I'm gonna do that. And that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go and I like drifting. I'm gonna go drift, and people are gonna buy our stuff because I drift. It doesn't really work that way.
Yeah.
So, but it's gotten to the point now where he and I, Mike and I at Grip Royal are super dialed in. We've learned and increased our efficiency in almost every way, like 10 times over.
Mm-hmm. What was one big change that you made to the business that really like made things super efficient? Other than like bigger shops, stuff like that, like obvious.
Well, I mean, just dude, I'm super organized and OCD about like everything, and then being overly explanatory is another big plus for me. So, which of course I've gotten better with time and experience, but so like for example, we would have to go back to that. If what's efficient now is not going to be efficient later. So you always have to reevaluate yourself and be self-aware, individually and as a team and as a company. So, for example, we're doing customer support. We've always done customer support on emails because it's something that we can reference anytime. Like if you've emailed Grip Royal and asked a question in 2017, I can pull it up.
Yeah, it's on record. Yeah.
I got it all on record. We don't do anything on the phone because we're busy. We're actually trying to do other people's orders. So if you're calling asking a question, we don't get anything done if we're on the phone. So we've never had a phone, which is extremely helpful. It confuses some people, but if we were some massive company, I could pay somebody to just be on the phone. That would make sense. But for us, everything on record, it's all in writing. Yeah. So when you order a custom,
protects both you and the customer.
Correct. So we would go back and say, all right, well, on customer support or service, what's a problem that we're getting a lot? Like, what are people emailing in and being like, hey, how do I do this?
Yeah.
Or I'm having a problem with this, or, you guys sent this wrong or something. Like anything that has repetition to it. How do we stop that?
Yeah.
It's like, how do we solve that problem before the customer even gets to that problem and has to ask? Because then on top of that, now we're not spending 2 hours of the day answering those emails.
Yeah.
So that opens up 2 more hours. If we can just spend a little more time focusing on how to solve that problem on the front end, one, it makes the customer's experience better, but it saves us time, effort, and we get to take that time now and reinvest it into something new at the business or increase efficiency somewhere else.
So your email list.
Yeah.
That I actually really like that because that is very true. I could see that.
Which is hard, like for you, like now you're putting this out on multiple platforms. So you have to keep up. And that's kind of what sucks too.
It's
so
hard.
If
comments
you get
are really hard.
Yeah. Keeping up with all these platforms at that. It's not just one. Like I used to just run Facebook and Instagram, and now we have like multiple accounts, a business page, TikTok, Snapchat, and the email. We have multiple emails, so we get different questions to like different emails, and which is good for categorizing stuff. But that's why if you ever see on our business stuff, it all says like go to email. It's not that I box people out and I'm like, nah, if you DM and ask a question, I'll answer. But if we get to a point where you're like asking about what you want to order, you've got to email. Yeah. And unfortunately, well, I can say fortunately, that actually kind of weeds out some of the BS, because sometimes people are just
shoppers and
sometimes
stuff,
people are window shopping, and sometimes people just have way more time than you do. So like
I relate that to Facebook Marketplace.
Yes. Yeah. So people will just like, and even outside of sales, like I bet with you probably get people that DM and they start a conversation. The conversation is not really going anywhere, but they're like, oh, I'm done with work for the day and I'm just curious. And you're literally trying to work on what they're asking.
I'm in the
about.
middle of editing a podcast, like trying to focus.
Yeah. And they're like, hey, man, I saw 3 podcasts ago. You had this weird question with this dude, and I wanted to ask more about that. And, and that's good to like get conversation going. But at a certain point, like for us, especially since essentially there's going to be a sale at the end of it, we're like, all right, this is getting a little involved. We need to put this in the business folder. And I'll come back to you when it's the right time. Because right now, like, so for us, we start the day with that's customer service, order fulfillment, and then anything else comes after that. So like we start with getting those who have paid for their orders, their stuff needs to get boxed and ready to go out the door right away. First priority. Anybody who's asking a question through the correct channel needs to get answered right away. Then it's, let's get back out in the shop. Let's box more inventory. Let's prep stuff for paint. Let's do any operational stuff. We need to move a shelf today because we got a pallet coming in or whatever. All the operational stuff then is the next priority. And then it's the, you know, the driving program or the cars. Cause we have multiple. Shoot, even taking the truck to events, I got to maintenance that thing all the time. But the mechanical stuff doesn't pay the bills, but they are instruments that are necessary for us to stay authentic. And to be fair, to genuinely be authentic, because again, I'm a car fan. I'm a hot rodder. And I love drifting. And I want to be doing that every day. That's why I started and run Grip Royal, not the other way around. I'm not a businessman who saw drifting as an opportunity to grow his business. I'm a drifter who started a business and thankfully have had the support of that sport. And so not only do I, you know, get to pay my bills and put food on the plate. And, you know, same thing with Mike. We love what we do. The money's not great, but the day-to-day is. You know?
The experience it brings along with it.
Correct.
Makes it well worth it.
And we don't really wake up and hate our jobs. Like, so that's a big plus, man. A lot of people don't want to go to work, man. And I get it. I understand. And
I do too, which is why I'm in the predicament that I'm in. The corporate world is just not for me. I can't do it. There's something about working for someone that really pisses me off.
Well, working for someone is acceptable. In my opinion, it's being treated like a team member and being appreciated is very important. Like, because you can't do it all by yourself.
I do see what you're saying.
You know, you need to be able to do a lot by yourself. But you have to be willing and able to accept help from others. And that was a big struggle. That was a big lesson that I've taught myself. Well, I would say taught myself. I finally have opened my eyes and ears to. Because people have tried to help me in the past so many times. And I got to do it myself. I don't trust anyone. And I don't trust anyone to have my best interest in mind. Like, nobody can have a better interest for me and my business than me. Right. But there are some people out there. It takes a while to find them, and you got to weed through a bunch of bad misconstrued concepts of that before you find the right ones. And that's kind of like friendships, you know, friendships. It's just like the same thing. Like especially as a business owner, like employees, like you're going to go through people that just don't click, people that clicked for a while, but then it fades out. Then there's going to be those solid ones that, like, dude, you're going to ride out to the end.
Well, do you see what's kind of the future plans that in your head for right now for Grip Royal? What do you see?
Man, we're just trying to keep on trucking. You know, it's
just keep it alive.
Keep it going. We're, like I said, we're pretty dialed in right now. Mike and I have this year, I think, have had a little more time to actually spend personal time. Like you even said earlier, like, you know, don't focus on the car and like bypass your family and friends and stuff. And like, man, when it is your business, I've done that a lot. Like I definitely have done, 14-hour days for back to back and then traveled for like.
That's literally what I'm in right now.
Yeah, just be
I had
absent.
to cancel. Sorry, Mom. I'm sorry. I do feel bad about it. I had to cancel on my mom literally last week of her coming here to visit. Not even me going to her in Jackson. Her coming here. I was like, I have so much work to do. I can't take off.
Yeah. Well, and you're like, I have timelines. This is time sensitive.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff, so.
Yeah. It's not something like in a corporate job where like if you don't, everyone's doing the same thing at a mass scale. So like if you're a little like didn't get one little thing done today, all right, I'll come back to it tomorrow. It's no big deal.
Well, even on a corporate scale, I think you probably feel more conflicted though, because the decision had to be made solely by you. So if you worked at some corporate job and they were like, sorry, dude, you need to come in all weekend because otherwise you're going to lose this job because you had the time to do this, or this is a huge thing that has to be done. And they put that on your plate. You might not like it, but at the same time, that's the double-bladed sword. Like most people are like, I want to be my own business owner and I want to have my own business.
But
like
they're not willing to deal with those risks.
Or to make those decisions, because it's easy to be like, man, my boss is an asshole. He's making me work this weekend. Sorry, I had to cancel. And then you can do the work all weekend and still kind of in the back of your head be like,
fuck that guy.
It's that dude's fault. Like, but I'm gonna get it done. But like, I'm missing my mom because of Steve, or whoever, like he's just like, it's his fault, not really mine.
That's so funny.
But then when you're the business owner, or just you in the business, you have to make those decisions. You have to make those calls, and it is morally and mentally taxing because you're like, dude, I just had to cancel on my mom, and you're like, oh, could I squeeze it? Like you start coming up with all these other alternatives and kind of just beating yourself up because you don't have someone else to blame now, or
everything falls on you.
Yeah, or you're the failed business owner that's just like, man, I just didn't get the project done on time. Sorry, client. Sorry, viewers.
Yeah.
We normally release on this day and time every week, but third weekend you missed it. Fourth weekend you missed it. 6 weeks in you missed it. It's like now you lost your customer base because you can't keep consistent. You can't remain consistent. So you're not even upholding your own rules. So it's like,
and it shows a lot about your own character just from that simple aspect.
Yeah. Well, and then it's just, there's, if you're telling people to tune in on Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And you're not there, you don't show up.
Every Sunday, 3 p.m., baby.
Yeah. Is that it? Sunday at 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, but if you don't produce, then eventually, and that happens over and over and over again, like, yeah, you might be able to bounce back. But again, that's what I mean. It's like, you're not upholding your own standards. Yeah. So when will that translate into other things in the business? And then that's normally when you see, entrepreneurs or small business owners fail, because I mean, especially even if you got like a little store and you got employees that work for you, if you tell everybody to do something and then you're constantly coming in and doing exactly what you tell them not to do right in front of them blatantly. Yeah. I mean, how's that going to go? Like now you got disgruntled employees. They don't feel appreciated. They don't feel equal. I mean, within reason, there's always, you can come up with some oddball. You can come up with something that it fits, but like...
Yeah, me and Elsie talked about that which you guys have already seen by now, but there's 3 sides to every story. Yeah. That's the way he explained it. You got one person, the other person, and then society.
Yeah, so for sure. Especially in today's standards with cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
And, perspective is everything. So being considerate of those that are around you, which it's so funny because I got some friends that if they watch this, hopefully they do, they're going to be like, man, Scott's an asshole a lot of the times. And that's true. Like I can be an asshole, but over time running the business, being a bad manager and boss to my friends in the past, like, I don't want to say I was bad, but at the same time, I will take that. Like I got to own it. Because
as a business owner, you've got to be able to admit your faults. Yeah. And you have to take them, I'd say, to the extreme sometimes. Yeah. I still tell myself to this day, I'm not a great editor. Yeah. I'm fucking not. If I look at anyone else out there, like you brought up Flink.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris.
That man's a madman. His videos are fucking insane.
Yeah,
I love him.
I'm so stoked to see what he does with the Drift Mansion.
Yeah,
too,
exactly. So I agree with that. You have to be able to give yourself more constructive criticism than anything else and be able to own up to it.
Yeah,
not
because
just hear it.
You won't improve.
Yeah.
Like if you don't think you need to be better or fix something or revise something, you're not going to. So, and nobody can like you just said, if people are telling you and you don't think it,
You're never going to hear it.
You're not going to act on it.
Exactly.
So, yeah, man, like, dude, having to let the couple guys that I had that worked with me, great guys, great friends, having to let them go when I did, that was like one of the hardest things I ever had to learn as a business owner. And then at the time, kind of that same thing. I'm like, at the time, I'm like, man, they should have done better. And then like over time, I figured out, well, why weren't they doing better? Because I wasn't doing better. Like I wish I would have picked it up.
Yeah.
And I was getting on to them before I had to let them go. Like, yo, you got like this ship is sinking. Like I need all hands on deck. But really, I feel like I could have done way better at figuring out a way to get all hands on deck. And you got to learn. Hey man, we're all just learning and living, right?
Yeah, right.
So trying to get better every day.
Well, that's awesome. I agree with that. Do you have any like special product you're trying to incorporate anytime soon?
Man, I got a couple new things that I'm working on, but they're not developed enough yet to
speak on.
Yeah, to speak on.
That's fair.
To be fair, if I want to plug product, just would say I paint every single steering wheel. Mike makes every single shift knob. We box every single wheel and order that comes in. We handle every email. We are drivers. We're drifters. We love this sport. We love cars.
Yeah.
And so if you want to show us some love and run one of our products, we really appreciate it, because that's literally how we are, putting our kids food on the table, putting clothes on their backs. And, we generally wear the same shirts and shoes, so we don't need a lot, but our families do. And the pay's not the best. Like I said before, I'm sure people would be like, man, don't you have like 9 cars? I was like, yeah, that's where the money is.
Yeah.
And it took me
those are my
years.
savings.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm not like one of those guys that like gets cars and flips them. Like, dude, if I get something,
I have attachment issues too.
I'm so attached.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very helpful to us if you show us some support and some love, and we do appreciate it. It's not like it's going through a bunch of channels of different people. There's not like, a sales guy or a social media guy that's like, all right, cool, man. Like, no, that's me. I run the social account. I've been doing it for, we formally were created in 2011, but I started in 2010. So we're at 13 years. I've been running Grip Royal through social media. And
so within those 13 years, if you've talked to anyone at Grip Royal, more than likely Scott.
It was me. Yep, it was the owner the whole time. Like even in the earlier, like I said, I didn't want people to like associate it as me at an early stage. So like I would use a lot of like terminology and just be like, our staff will get to it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, nah, that's me. But now we've kind of like opened up to be more personable. Like I say, because a lot of other companies kind of got on board with some of the stuff that we're doing and some of the product that we're doing. So now we really want people to understand that it's a passion over here. Like what those other companies are doing, that's not for me to speak on, but like there's 2 of us, we bust our ass every single day to make sure that Grip Royal is as efficient as it can be for the customer who is spending their hard-earned money with us, because we want them to get exactly what they're paying for. And then again, I paint every wheel, all the custom wood, we use the wood grain wheels and we do all the custom paint work and stuff. So if you got something crazy in your mind that you wanted to see on a steering wheel, holler at us, because
hell yeah.
I mean,
are there any that y'all keep like in stock at all times?
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff in stock.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah, and I used to only make like a lot of the painted stuff. We'd always be so limited on inventory that I had to constantly only make it on order. Now, because we finally have gotten like shelves and shelves of inventory, I was able to kind of get ahead of, and we don't list it as in stock, but like, you know, like white is one of the most popular colors.
Gotcha.
It's like you want white on gold spokes. I probably have one on the shelf. So even when you order on the website, it's going to say like takes 2 to 4 weeks to make. But but if you pick one of the popular colors, like I probably am like, yeah, I always keep one on deck, you know? So,
okay, cool.
just because I've gotten to that point, again, efficiency, where we have the...
Well, there's your cheat code.
Yeah,
You're looking at a grip oil wheel.
Yeah, if you're looking at a white wheel, you keep them on deck.
You need one really quick.
Yeah, but no, I really love doing the one-off stuff, man. It's really fun. Some people, I mean, everybody has different tastes and styles. So like sometimes they get orders, I'm like, that's not for me, but I'm glad this person I never would create that.
Yeah. What's the coolest wheel you've done so far? Do you remember?
Dude, I don't know.
Too many to count, probably?
Yeah, we've done 10,000, 20,000 steering wheels.
Like, yeah, we could scratch that question altogether.
It's a lot. I get really, I will say this, I get really tired of painting white wheels because it's so popular. If you're gonna buy a white wheel, buy it from us.
Yeah.
But and I will paint it. But dude, there's so many
From working
options.
in a body shop, painting a white car is the most boring.
Dude, it's most boring, and it's so easy to get trash in it, and I hate that.
It does hide majority of dirt and stuff, and a lot of stuff. But
I don't like it.
Anyways,
but yeah,
that's hilarious.
Like the black with flakes are so cool, man. I love doing wheels like that. Anything that's, you know, I grew up with hot rods, so I like all the like super hot boy flashy colors. Flake. Yeah, the flake wheels, the fades. I like doing like 2-color fades, but we don't get a lot of orders for them. I think they look sick. A lot of the metallic colors I spray with are aftermarket colors, so they're like super metallic-y. Yeah. But just if somebody has a crazy idea, shoot us an email.
Hell yeah.
Mike will handle
do that. Yeah. Well, cool. We'll wrap it up with what's your best piece of advice for anyone just getting into drifting?
Well, I think we kind of hit it, man.
Yeah.
Getting into drifting, just keep it simple, stupid. The KISS mentality, KISS.
The amount of times I probably count on 2 hands how many times people have said that.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid.
And unfortunately, it's always evolving and changing the sport. So like we had discussed in your garage, it's like I got an SR swap from a buddy 10 years ago. Intercooler to drive shaft. I'm a big SR guy.
Yeah.
I love SRs. But it's also kind of like what I just have always had.
Yeah.
But I got a swap from him, intercooler to drive shaft, for $1,800. Now, like the pallet motor that you still have to like get parts for and adapt the harness and all this. There's a lot of work and other accessory bits that have to go on to it. You got to buy the intercooler and all that stuff. You know, I think just the pallet motor swap's like $4,000 or $5,000 or something now. It's like crazy expensive, which I get it because it's not like they're being made.
Yeah.
So there's fewer of them. The industry and the demand for them is way bigger internationally, and the supply is way smaller. So it makes sense. And shipping's higher. Value of $1's lower. Like we're spending hundreds when we used to spend 20s for like the same stuff. So just everything has gone up in price, and the supply has gone down. But like, you know, for me, I would always be like, we'll just put an SR in it. And we're talking about S chassis or something, or even a Z.
Yeah.
And I was like, why don't you put an SR in it? It's like, that's not
Find
efficient.
one.
That's not financially efficient. Like it's, you know, go with the route. Don't go, I want to do it because nobody else does it. It's unique. I want to do something different. Like there's a reason everybody's doing something like normally. If you want the seat time car, if you're, you know, now if you want to RB swap your Z,
if you want to be dumb like me.
No, but like, you know, when your car had a VQ in it, you're probably driving it a lot more frequently, right?
Yeah.
So,
which I will say, like with the circumstance I'm in, even if I still had that VQ in there, I still wouldn't be able to afford drifting right now.
Yeah. Well, that's
just
also,
simply just because of what I'm doing.
Well, that's because you're making a jump to do this. So that's, you know, circumstantially, like you said. Yeah. But no, for someone who's new to the sport, get a car that already has a good platform, kind of follow the same simple recipe. ask a lot of questions from people who have been involved in the sport. You know, don't go blowing up Chris Forsberg's DMs about asking simple Z questions that you can find on any website, or YouTube. But like, maybe don't just take the advice of one person who just got into it 2 years ago. Maybe go to the person who has been in the sport, you know, for a decade, or runs the events that you're going to, and kind of get their input, and the person that you see drifting a Z right now. Like, because there's a lot of different experience levels out there, and there's a lot of information. There's a lot of false information. There's a lot of people who are promoting stuff that they don't like run or use, or have had failures that they're not going to tell you about. Like, yeah, somebody might tell you like, hey, this part's great, but then they're forgetting to tell you that it took them 9 times to get it on right. You know, something like that. So
I see that from the perspective of whenever I was growing up, they always told you don't believe everything you see on the internet. Yeah. Well, now that's kind of, I know it's still the internet, but it's kind of transitioned in don't believe everything you hear from a fucking influencer.
That too. Yes, for sure.
Because not every, even like promotional ads, like when they do ads for products, just half the time, I guarantee you they don't even use that shit. Yeah. They just thought it was cool and we're like, oh yeah, I want to try that anyways. Sure, let's do an ad.
Yeah. Or they're just installing, like when it comes to car parts, like sometimes people are promoting something that they've just installed. But again, they're not telling you about all the other parts that they had to buy just to get that one on. And it's like, you don't need everything. Just, and I say that, but I'm the guy that's like, I'm gonna buy everything for the car. But again, I've been in it for 18 years, you know, and I have multiple cars, and I have an expectation. So if you're just new to the sport, the suggestion is keep it simple, do bare essentials, focus on your driving, ask a lot of questions, and humble yourself. Humble yourself. Know what you want out of the car. So if you're just getting into it and you're like, I just need to learn how to drift. I want to learn. I want to learn how to drift. You do not need to be building a car for competition purposes. No. If you are just now linking the course, you do not need to be in competition. Now, all these people who are running these comps, they love you guys. Like the guys that are jumping right into it and they're like, yeah, I just started drifting last year. I'm running comp. Yeah, I think y'all are crazy.
Yeah. Psychos. There was one dude out at Jersey who was on like his second event ever. Yeah. And he had never, or maybe it was like third. It was in a VQ car, G35. Yeah. And man, he threw 100 shot on it and thought that was gonna be able to keep up, and like, yeah, that's just the skill still wasn't there. Like he's from not ever drifting one event ago, like he can drive.
Yeah, but, like, for sure. But you're also like
pro drivers.
But you're jeopardizing everybody else. So you got this. I saw this at Clutch Kickers as well, because we sponsored Clutch Kickers, and when it was at Emerald Coast, I was able to go to a lot of them, that course was really cool because it was so humbling. I love for the track. Big cars and small cars. It was very equalizing. Yeah. And some people, I've heard people say that's not true, but man, I went to almost every round.
Oh shit! I drove the track. Yeah, it was definitely that.
Yeah, and that I feel like is a better place for like, if you're into it and you want to run against a pro car, cool. But then when they went to the oval track at Freedom Factory, like I saw a couple cars out there, and I just had to say to myself, was like, y'all are just fucking up the field. Like, I get that you're like underdog in it, or like, you know, I just want to comp drive. I want to drive with good drivers so I get better. I hear that a lot. Like, I want to comp drive because I want to tandem with better people. And that's a great perspective. But sorry, man, if this dude has all this fab work on this, you know, $50,000 competition specific drift car, and you go out there with your 100 shot stock G35 with coilovers on it, it's like, you've got a $4,000 car, he's got a $50,000 car, and you stuff the wall and he slams into you, or vice versa. Like, to me, that's just you kind of being out of place, and I'm sure people will disagree with that. Yeah. But again, there's a time and a place, man. If you're just out here like, I'm just going to give it a shot,
you become a liability at that point.
It's a liability for sure. And yeah, it's cool. Like I love an underdog story. But I had 3 88.6 Corollas. Okay,
You still got to know your place as an underdog in today's time.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
you can't
I
bring a
agree.
knife to a gunfight. Like just
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo. That's all
Yeah.
you need. Hell yeah. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, the giveaway will be announced next week, so make sure you're back here for that one. Don't forget to subscribe, and that's pretty much it. So
yeah. Thanks for having me on, man.
yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude.
This was actually a really good podcast, but that's pretty much it. So we will see you guys next week. Peace.
Yeah, I'm sure I could come up with $100.
Yeah, look, they said that I couldn't do it, so I went and did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, you know, I've been on a what mission? Go. Okay, let's get it.